My God.
What episode are we on? Oh, okay. That's what I was looking for.
Thank you, Kai. That's
We're
huge.
live. We're live.
Okay, we are live with episode number 18. By the way, everybody, Adam came in ready. He's got his black shirt on. You may want to unbutton one more to show
Miami
your
style?
hairy chest. Like, show it. Put the
What would
chain
Ricky
out.
Aguilar
Put
do
the
here?
chain out. Ricky would be full on. Ricky would have a tank top on. Is what he would be doing. But
sorry,
what a
audience.
night
I'm sorry.
yesterday, huh? The debate.
What a night. Yeah.
Yesterday. Obviously, we'll talk about it here in a minute for the VP debate. Folks, thanks for joining us. Press that like button. And before we get into it, let me lower the audio here. Before we get into it, I want to ask you guys for one thing. Last night's debate, what was the score? Okay, Pence, Kamala, put your score down. I want to hear from everybody. Put your football score down. We'll give ours here in a minute as well. But we got a lot to cover today. Obviously, I still hear somebody else's audio because mine is on mute, just so you guys know. As yours? Yeah, it was yours. Okay, good. So we're good to go now. So we got a lot of things to cover here. Trump administration announced the overhaul of the H-1B1 visa program. Why he's doing it. You have to pay the folks on the H-1B1 more than the American people, which is pretty interesting what things they're talking about, but we'll get to that here in a minute. Stock rises as Trump appears to soften stance on stimulus. First he said, no, I'm not going to do it until I get elected. Then he changed his mind and said, I'm going to be doing it, so we'll see what's going to happen there. Tech giants have screwed a regulation because monopolies have been defined by law. Democrats are now trying to rewrite those laws. The end of oil jobs, Trump's new ad video, which you got to see. It'll remind you of the Apple Think Different video. We haven't touched up on this topic yet. We're going to try to get it in today. European Silicon Valley. Maybe we get into that. King of all median income, Howard Stern. You will not believe the contract he just got. It's ridiculous, the contract he just got. And then the Pope. The Pope says capitalism doesn't work. We need to change it. So maybe we need to listen to what he has to say. VP debate, ballot harvesting. Maybe we'll get into that. And NBA is thinking about getting away from the BLM campaign that they had this year. And a weird sign that showed up on the side of the 405 freeway, which was pretty interesting. We'll get into that too as well. But let's first talk about the most important topic for the first 10 minutes of today's podcast, Howard Stern.
Oh, that's number one.
So the debate was a few months ago. Joe Rogan got a $100 million contract from Spotify, okay? The number's over a 4-year period. Some are saying it's more than that. Some are saying it's not $100 million over 4 years. Some close friends are saying we know the number. It's much more than $100 million. I would say his contract needed to be around $250 million. That's what I would say over 4 years. 50 a year. I think Joe's a 50-a-year guy. No question about it. But here's what just happened. Howard Stern, okay, who's on Sirius XM radio, okay, if you've ever listened to his show and said to yourself, gee, I know Howard Stern's making $90 million a year, but man, I think he's underpaid. Some other people agree. His bosses think he's underpaid. Bloomberg.com just reported that SiriusXM Holdings is working on a contract that would give Stern, you ready for this, $120 million salary per year. Let me say this one more time. $120 million year salary. Not $120 million contract. Not $120 million over 5 years. Not $120 million over 3 years. $120 million per year at the age of 71. The moment they announced this, Sirius stock climbed $5.95. 7% it increased the moment the announcement was made that he's getting that kind of a raise. So is it worth it or not, $120 million a year, Tom?
Easy answer. Very, very easy answer. One word answer. No. He is not worth it.
Not worth it.
Not worth it. Was he? Yeah. Probably more in the past.
Wow.
2005, 2006, when he came over to SiriusXM and built it and made it into what it is, yes. And here's why I say no. Okay, he was making 90. Now, I'm a fan of Howard. Yeah. I like Howard. He's tailing off, okay? He's not into it as much as he was. The show is suffering, in my opinion. And here's the other thing, why it's not worth it. He's become political. And that means you are going to alienate half your audience. And I guarantee you there will be people canceling their subscription to SiriusXM because of his support, his blinding support for Biden, his hatred now for Trump. It's gotten over the top. And
I thought him and Trump were friends for a
they
long.
used
I mean,
to be.
obviously today they're not.
Right,
but-
and they used to be, but he's using that as an excuse now that he doesn't support him. And look, this is a subscription-based model.
Yeah.
Okay, people can make the decision
Yeah.
with their credit card. And now look, these guys aren't idiots at SiriusXM. They know what they're doing. The stock went up because I think they were so afraid that he wasn't. He hangs them. You know, he's got them by the short hairs all the time because he's messing with them whether he's going to re-sign another 5-year deal. But I do not believe it's going to be worth it for 5 more years at $120 a year.
$600 million contract.
Because of his political stances now.
Dude, the guy's currently making $90 million a year. Are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah.
So he's due a raise, inflation, $120 million. Are you kidding me? Even if he meets in the middle between 90 and 120 and settles on $105 million a year.
Howard doesn't settle.
Okay.
He won't settle on anything on that deal.
Howard Stern comes again. His latest book that just came out, I think, a year ago.
Yeah.
The thing with Howard Stern, he's the OG in this. He is what you wrote, the king of all media and income. Was that like a pun?
Yeah.
Okay, it was good. King of all media, man. He started this thing. There'd be no Joe Rogan. There'd be no PBD podcast. There'd be no podcast if it were not for Howard Stern. He jumped ship from radio, 12, 15 years ago to Sirius XM. Homie makes $90 million a year. Here's the thing about Howard Stern. Whatever guest he wants, he gets. You want Trump on? He gets Trump. You want Hillary Clinton on? You get Hillary Clinton. You want musical acts? He gets musical acts. You want the biggest stars in the world? They come on Howard Stern, first and foremost. Now, I think it's fair to say, Joe Rogan's coming for his crown, right? I mean, as far as viewership, as far as credibility, as far as getting guests. But Howard Stern's the OG. So is he worth $90 million? Obviously, they're paying him that. Is he worth $120 million? Potentially. The guy's going to get $100 million, no doubt. And he's 65. He'll be 71 at the end of this contract, right? The guy's still got some gas left in his tank. I don't think he's done whatsoever. You got Trump, who's 72, 73.
74.
74?
73 or 74.
Trump's 74.
Yeah.
Biden's 104.
Yeah.
Stern
Biden
still
looks
got
good. He doesn't look 104. He looks like 85. You know, he looks
minimum,
Yeah.
minimum
How about,
85.
How about that shot from behind of Biden where he's bald? They hide that very, very well, but he is flat out bald on the backside of his head. It looks pretty rough.
What are you saying about bald people,
I'm
bro?
just saying that I didn't
Just because you
expect
got a
that
good
from-
head of hair at
I
50
thought
something.
Biden was more
Don't hate
vibrant,
it.
but when you look at him from behind, man, he is bald.
Don't look at him from behind. Look at him straight in the eye, dead in the eye.
So you're saying he's worth it. You're saying
I'm saying he's the king of
Here's
all
what I'm
media.
saying. I'm saying it's not worth it to SiriusXM. I say they're going to have a ton of cancellations.
So let me
because
ask
of
you
it.
this: if they don't go after him, who do they go get at that level? Put
Nobody.
some names.
There is
See,
no
that's
other
why
name
you
at that
can't.
level.
You know
There's
how it
no
is?
other name.
You ever watch? Remember when they changed the contracts a couple of years ago? Mike Connolly got a $160 million contract for 4 years. You're like,
Mike
who?
Conley?
Yeah.
Who's getting 164? What are you paying this guy
Yeah.
160? And the Lakers signed a massive deal with Lua Deng. Do you remember
Luol
that?
Deng,
But
yeah.
they're still paying the price
Yeah,
for it.
they're still paying the price. I'm like, what are you guys doing?
I know, it was
What
so
is this
stupid.
all about with this contract? But sometimes when the talent
Yeah.
pool isn't big, you got to pick up or else somebody else is going to pick up. Because here's the numbers. If you look at SiriusXM stock, hi, can you pull up SiriusXM stock? Just look at SiriusXM stock in the last 12 years, okay? If you look at SiriusXM stock, right there, go max. Yeah, let's just say it goes, look at that, at 100. Go a little bit more to the left. It's 58, 60, go one more, 60, $56.
Wow.
And now it's gone down, down. Keep going to the right, all the way to the right, all the way to the right. Look at that. You know, they're trying to barely make it together. Like yesterday, Z takes my car, and she says, Pat, I noticed your radio stations in your car weren't fixed, so I fixed them. And I put some radio stations for you to listen to. Kai starts laughing over there, and he's laughing, and she's not paying attention to Kai. I said, Z, I don't know if you know or not. I don't listen to anything in the car. She says, but you got Sirius XM. I said, I honestly didn't even know I had Sirius XM. But I got to tell you, 5-10 years ago, when cars would say, it comes with Sirius XM, you know, you're like, oh my gosh, I got Sirius XM. Today, it's a whole different story. People are tuning into a podcast. People are listening to something else. This is the other part I will say about this thing here. I will say, the interview that he recently did with Hillary Clinton, you know what everybody said? He got her to talk about stuff. I think even you said it like a month ago.
It was phenomenal.
Yeah, he got her to talk about stuff that maybe no one's ever talked about before. Maybe Howard's about to go on the second run, and he's pitched him behind closed doors saying, there's the one thing I've never touched. It's politics. I think I can get things out of people that others can't. I don't know. I know Howard's a sales guy. If you know the guy's story, the guy's a very good sales guy.
I'll tell you what. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
And there's no way someone's giving a guy $120 million without thinking in the back end that this guy's going to deliver. So they're banking on him. 2, there's not a lot of talent right now that's at that level. No. 3, Rogan just signed with Spotify. The biggest fear, the best thing that happened to Howard Stern, believe it or not, is the fact that Spotify said they're getting Rogan. And outside of that, SiriusXM is sitting behind closed doors. You know what they're worried about? Who just announced 4 weeks ago they're going in the podcast game? Who just announced?
The
behemoth.
Amazon.
Are you kidding me? A $2 trillion company said we're going into podcasts. So SiriusXM is sitting there saying, dude, they'll pay this guy $120 million. That's nothing for them. So there's a lot of things behind closed doors that you don't know about where Howard may be coming up saying, look, I got Amazon came knocking, man, and I'm taking the call. I'm going to have a meeting with them. Who? Amazon? So
you know what else I think too? If you listen to Howard, and like I said, I'm a fan of Howard. I just think he's lost a step on his game. I really do.
What do you mean by lost a step?
He's not as good as he used to be. His interviewing abilities are phenomenal. How often does he do big interviews? It's not that. Who's coming in studio with COVID? No one's coming in there anymore. Howard's scared as hell anyway. He's doing the show from the Hamptons. Here, couple things. Howard's a loyal guy. He protects his guys. And those guys don't have careers without him, right? The happiest people are JD, Baba Booey, Robin's okay on her own, but I think he does that to keep those guys relevant, at least a little fraction of it. He really, they help build him. By the way, trivia question, who replaced Howard Stern when he left terrestrial radio in 2005? Who replaced him? David Lee Roth. Can you freaking believe that? It lasted about 2 months. He came on so cocky, so arrogant, so out of touch. I think it lasted 2 or 3. I mean, he did not appreciate Howard. He didn't respect him, and he was blasted out of there almost immediately.
Yeah, that style doesn't work. You can't come in and doing things like that. That doesn't
rest
work.
in peace, Eddie Van Halen. Speaking of David Lee
Roth,
right?
I mean, I was in a meeting with the investors when Ian announced that Eddie Van Halen died at 65 years old, and Mario's a big fan, and I think everybody's listened to his music. Obviously, when you got somebody like that with that kind of talent coming up. One time, he told us a story about one time. Is it Black Sabbath? Who was part of Black Sabbath?
Let's see.
Let's get Mario in here.
Who's
Alice Cooper?
No, it's not Cooper. Who's part of Black Sabbath leader? So one time they're doing a concert, and they said Van Halen is opening up. And he comes up to open up. He crushed it better than the main show. And from that point on, he left. Who's the guy? Yeah, Ozzy Osbourne left saying, the hell with you guys. He left and started something else. He said, because if these guys got their stuff together like this.
Right.
Anyways, it's a rest in peace, Eddie Van Halen.
When's the last time you watched Howard Stern?
I don't watch
Howard Stern.
I don't watch. I just know his story.
So you don't watch him at all?
I'm not a Howard Stern guy.
And you
I'll
from time to time?
Well, you know what? He's got 3 channels, so you can get the recap. So sometimes I'll do that every once in a while. But,
let me tell you, I don't watch all that often. I'll listen. I don't watch all that often, but I'll tell you what is sick that I have watched episode after episode, just kind of went on a binge. He has top musical acts show up in the studio, or at least has before COVID, and jam out. Counting Crows, Katy Perry, just the list goes on and on. Those are some of the episodes I watch. But musical acts show up, sing their songs, a cappella, rock out, have a band there. It's pretty freaking dope.
Listen, I'm telling you, I'm for paying him. You don't pay him. The market's going to pay him. Whether you like him or not, market's going to pay this guy. The whole Mike Connolly story.
Yeah.
You don't want to pay me? No problem. There's only 300 NBA players out there. 280 of them are signed. 20 of them are looking for a contract. You're dealing with 20. You're going to pull people from college for Puerto Rico? I'm in the top 20 players that are available to buy. You want to buy me? Come pay me. The current contracts are $160. So he got paid. By the way, you know what Howard Stern just did? Let me tell you what Howard Stern just did. Howard Stern just made Joe Rogan a billionaire. I'm going to say this one more time. Joe Rogan is officially a billionaire. And he doesn't
Billionaire.
know. 5 years he's got to wait. It's on its way.
Yeah.
In 5 years, he's going to get a $200 million a year contract. In 5 years. In 5 years.
Level up the playing field.
No, this is all it meant, dude. When Steve Ballmer bought the Clippers, Michael Jordan became a billionaire.
Sure.
When Steve Ballmer bought the Clippers,
increased the value of
an organization that was worth nothing. San Diego Clippers is when Donald Sterling bought him, and he was a commercial real estate guy, and he could care less about the NBA. Could care less about the NBA. Ballmer paid 2.2. Every NBA owner said, "Thank you, Ballmer. You officially made us richer." Right? Howard Stern officially made a lot of people rich.
That's a good point.
So, hey, more power to all the podcasts.
Let me give you a Mike Colley analogy that will not
Mike Connolly, get his name
Mike
right.
Conley, yeah. Memphis Grizzlies.
Yeah,
he just got traded to Utah. But here's what's going to happen with talent like this, talent like Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Mike Conley signs a 5-year, $150 million contract, whatever it was, with the Memphis Grizzlies. First 2-3 years, cool, he's doing great, he's an all-star. And then what happens to a lot of these contracts? They fall off.
Yeah.
They get traded. He ends up in Utah. It doesn't do as well. All of a sudden, you're paying 30-something million for a guy who's a questionable starter.
Yeah.
Respect to Mike Conley, though. That's not going to happen with talent like this.
No.
Like, he's not going to lose his mind or lose his gas in the tank or lose his wheels 3-4 years in.
He's going to go for a while.
He's going to go for a while.
Look, in reality, much love to Howard Stern for getting his money. I respect him. If you can get your money, go get it. You got it. Good for you. That's the game of capitalism.
Yeah.
I respect anybody that can negotiate behind closed doors and get paid what they get paid in this kind of dollars. Yeah. You bring value where the market's willing to pay this kind of money, more power to you. More
Do you think he gets the $120 million, bottom line?
I don't know if he does or not. All I'm saying is the bench isn't deep. The market, a free agent, isn't big at this level.
No, he's getting 120.
Yeah.
Especially
you think
now
he's going to get it?
Of course he's going to get it.
You're just saying he's not worth it.
No, I was saying I don't think it's ultimately going to be worth it to SiriusXM. But he's going to get the $120 because it's already been talked about. He's not settling for a penny
Buddy,
less
check
now.
this out. Look, you know how hard it is to keep people's attention. People think it's an easy game. So Howard Stern's been on radio for how long? I mean,
40 years.
40 years, okay? Yeah. He's replaced by who? David Lee Roth. How long did Trump run Apprentice? 15 years. Who was he replaced by? A very big personality.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. He couldn't do Apprentice.
Yeah.
It's not the easiest job to keep people's attention, even with a name like Arnold.
Right.
Movie star.
How long did Arnold
Mr.
last?
Olympia. Barely a year.
Yeah, and he was horrible. And part of the problem
yeah.
is that those guys have such confidence and their egos are so big they think they can step right in, take it another direction, make it even better, and it doesn't because that show was Trump and no one can replace Howard.
It's not how it works. You got to do more than that when you're talking about this. By the way, tech giants. Okay, let's talk about European Silicon Valley. So the founder of Spotify, Daniel Ek, said he would invest €1 billion, $1.2 billion of his personal fortune in deep tech moonshot projects spread across over 10 years. He indicated that he was referring to machine learning, biotechnology, material sciences, and energy as the sectors he'd like to invest in. I want to do my part. We all know that one of the greatest challenges is access to capital. He said, adding he wanted to achieve a new European dream, meaning similar to the American dream, he wants to create a Silicon Valley and start a European dream. I get really frustrated when I see European entrepreneurs giving up on their dreams, amazing vision, selling early onto non-European companies, or when some of the most promising tech talent in Europe leaves because they don't feel valued here. We need more super companies that raise the bar and can act as an inspiration. Thoughts? Will this work, a European Silicon Valley?
Not to the level that we have, not even close, but I applaud him. I think that's admirable because I think these entrepreneurs, these tech genius entrepreneurs in Europe don't have a level playing field for what we have here because we have a free country where it's easier to do it. I think there's limitations because of government. So when I see him stepping up like this, as long as it's sincere, I'm all for it. I think it's a great idea.
What city is it going to be in? Is there going to be a central location? Because that's the biggest problem that they're going to face.
Type in European Silicon Valley, EK. EK. Type in European Silicon Valley, EK. Go ahead, Adam.
I think he's based out of Stockholm, I want to say. I don't think Stockholm, Sweden is going to be the next Silicon Valley. I don't think it's going to be Dublin, Ireland. I don't think it's going to be London, per se, for tech. I don't think it's going to be Paris. I don't know if they work hard enough. Brussels, that's where the head of the EU is, right, in Brussels. People are saying Lisbon, Portugal is a good place to start up tech. Germany, Munich, Berlin. But I'm naming all these cities because that's how fragmented it potentially could be. In America, we know if you want to get involved in the tech game, you go to San Francisco, Silicon Valley, straight up, done. You want to get involved in the financial game, you go to New York, done. You want to get involved in Hollywood, you're moving to LA. You want to have a little of best of all worlds, you go down to Miami.
Yeah.
You know where to go. It's very fragmented here. So I respect this guy. I'm not sure what European. Where's Daniel Ek from, Kai? Do you have a quick country for me? Is he Swedish? Whatever he is. I respect him for trying to keep talent here in Europe, but I don't think anything is going to be replaced in Silicon Valley anytime soon. Look at all the companies that have come out of Silicon Valley, right? Google, Amazon. Well, did Amazon come out of Silicon Valley? No. Well, PayPal. The list goes on. Facebook, Apple. Obviously, Apple. The list goes on and on. What's come out of Europe? What? Name a company that's
Why
come out
though?
of Europe.
That's the question is why? Why hasn't it? Kai, take a look at your phone and or bring that tweet up about Greg App and what he just said yesterday. Why? Why has no company come out of Europe?
Because there's no central location for them all to go.
Oh, that's why. So you're saying the reason why it hasn't come out of Europe is because of central location and where to go.
I'm saying there is no central location.
Okay.
I'm not saying that's the reason
All
why.
right, so let me explain to you. So the other day, I sat down with the CEO of AIG of UK, London. He's now the CEO of AIG. So him and I had a meeting together a few months back, okay? And sharp guy, the division that he's running, he's the CEO for. And we were thinking about expanding to UK and London. When I went to London on one night, I sent an Instagram and I said, I'm going to do a meetup by this one bridge. 100 people showed up at 9:30 and it's raining. We have the video. We couldn't play. I'm like, wait a minute. And you know how many of the guys showed up? They're like, we're in insurance. When are you opening up? We want to work for, the company in PHP in UK. I'm like, in UK? Yeah. I'm like, let me look into it. So we meet up. We start talking. I said, so what does it take for me to go through licensing in UK? He says, oh, you have to be a CFP. You have to be a this. You have to be a full-timer. You cannot be a part-timer. You have to. He went through step by step. If you can pull up the tweet, step by step process. I just texted to you. Yeah, step-by-step process on all this stuff. Here's what Greg Abbott tweeted yesterday. I've been talking with NASDAQ Stock Exchange about moving some of their operations to Texas. They want to flee high taxes. Let them know that we just passed a constitutional amendment banning an income tax in Texas. That's how you get entrepreneurs to be free. So there's a reason why there's not a Silicon Valley and all these companies being built in Europe. You can put all the billions of dollars, Daniel Ek. Don't waste your money. They're going to tax the hell out of it. You're going to get so tired of it. You're going to come back and say, dude, I thought this was going to be a different story. These regulations are not just going to let it happen. It has nothing to do with dreamers. It had nothing to do with the people that have a vision. He's got a very good point when he says here, I get really frustrated when I see European entrepreneurs giving up on their amazing vision, selling early on to non-European companies. Why do people sell early on to non-European companies? Because they are regulated and they want to sell it to somebody else. And they're just kind of like, I don't want to mess with it anymore. Or when some of the most promising tech talent in Europe leaves because they don't feel valued here. It's not about they don't feel valued here, buddy. They got restraining, they got all these different regulations
Handcuffs
to them.
Yeah, can you put that tweet up again, Kai? So here's what I think. I look at this. It's brilliant, number one.
Yeah.
I look at it as a trial balloon. He goes east, right, talking to NASDAQ about possibly moving to Texas. Do you think potentially a tech company could leave Silicon Valley, one of the big ones? Because those guys want to make money too.
They will.
Tesla's talking about that, aren't they?
I mean, could you freaking believe that? I mean, well, he's an outlier, Elon Musk, but I'm talking about one of the big ones in Silicon Valley.
I actually do, and I think it's eventually going to happen. Look, guys, I'm telling you, there's one thing you can't do. I was having a conversation with, who were we talking about yesterday when I said, you can't have, so I'll look at the folks I work with in our company, right? And I'll look at certain personalities whom other can coexist in, okay? They can coexist in. We have a guy who's a very good friend. I've mentored this guy and his wife for quite some time now. Jose Marlin Gaitan, okay? Mm-hmm. You've been around them before. I don't know if you've had a chance to meet him. You've been around them before. How chill?
Too chill.
How chill of a guy?
Hey, man.
Okay, can you coexist around him?
Yeah, very chill.
Does he make you feel like you're comfortable being around him?
Very chill.
Does he make you feel like he's the man, you better respect him or else you can't be around him? Not at all.
I didn't get that.
It's not his personality. No. He's chill, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So when you're in certain markets, like you are in, in Silicon Valley, and you're on all this other talent, sometimes you got to go to a different place yourself, like in Austin, and not pay the taxes. And people think people are never going to leave. They're going to be here forever. You cannot have creative talent stay in a place confined to handcuffs and shackles and overregulation, because eventually talent who's very innovative, they have to be what? It's the F word. It's the F word that Kamala used last night. Free. But it's a different kind of a free. It's free to say what? Listen, like when we deal with these guys that are doing our sound and they're working on getting better, I don't hover over them. Let's just, guys, let's get better. Let's figure this thing out. What are we doing? Just get better. That's all we got to do. We got to get better, right? Oh, no. You can't do that too much. You got to let people be free. Let us figure it out. As long as you deliver, because free thinkers who are doers, they just want to be left alone. Yeah. They're not going to do it in Europe. So I don't see this thing going too much in Europe because of regulation.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question, because you live in California. You're from California. You brought up the overregulation point. California is pretty high taxes and pretty high regulation, right? That's where Silicon Valley is based. So what's the metaphor there? What's the
Great
deeper
question.
story
Can you
with
pull
that?
up a 405 freeway? Check this out. Here's what's going on in California secretly that a lot of people don't know about. By the way, this just happened this week.
They took down the Hollywood sign and actually replaced
This
it with
is
that.
the
Yeah.
KTLA. That's 405. I've gone down this road, God knows how many tens of thousands of miles, and they put the Trump sign over there. Okay. And by the way, those mountains are always on fire, just so you know. No, literally.
No,
Those,
of course.
You see how it's black?
Yeah.
Those mountains are always on fire.
I'll let you know if that sign is still up this weekend.
Yeah.
I have a funny feeling it won't be, or it'll be defaced or something.
Whether it will be or not, because it's not hard to go to it and do whatever you want to do to it, break it. You know, obviously, if you burn it, you're going straight to prison because you're an arsonist. But there's a lot of things you can do with that. Moral of the story is this: there are going to be certain people in the state of California that are either behind closed door, conservative, fiscally conservative, entrepreneurs, innovators who are getting sick of the regulation, who are either going to leave, or there's going to be those that are just going to come out publicly. And if California doesn't eventually change, you ain't going to keep them forever. That's not how life works, okay? You can be in a lot of people that you see are married for 25 years, and then they get a divorce. You ever see people that get married for 25 years and get a divorce? Like, you got a divorce after 25 years? Bezos got a divorce after 25 years.
Well, it happens all the time, right?
Well, why didn't they marry at 5 years? Why not at 10 years? Why
Kids,
not at
a lot of
15?
times it's kids.
A lot of times it's, I don't want to do it because we got kids, you know, let's just wait, you know, let's make it work. We're going to love
Or
each
they're
other.
comfortable, it's,
Or
you
they're
know-
comfortable. But eventually, dude, if you abuse a woman for too long, dude, eventually she's just going to, I can't do it anymore. I'm out, right? Vice versa, I'm out.
Vice versa, too.
Vice
right?
versa, yeah. So if you do this to California, eventually people are going to be like, dude, listen, I love you, California.
Yeah.
Like, listen, you have no idea how much I love the state of California. You have no, when I go to California and I see it, I can't even help myself how much I love the state. But you're eventually going to push people out. So I like Abbott's move, and I don't think this is going to work in Europe, not because Daniel Ek is not doing a noble thing trying to help people out. He needs to spend that money on regulation. He needs to come and say, hey, Europe, you want to create a Silicon Valley? Yes, before I put my $1.2 billion, guess what I'd be doing? What's that? Here's the 5 things you guys got to do in whatever country offers these 5 things. Low regulation, no taxes, all of this stuff that he goes through. I'm going to put that $1.2 billion into your country, and we're going to make that the hub of Silicon Valley. That's the approach I would take. You never go and say, hey, guys, here's $1.2 billion. No, hold it back. Whoever does these 5 things, we're coming to your state. So,
Incentivize.
but it's not my money; it's his money.
Can I tell the audience how much you love California? Can I tell them how much
Tell
you
them how much
love
I love
LA?
California.
I went with Pat. We actually met for lunch one day. I went with Pat. I think this was like 2-3 weeks ago. He wanted me to experience his entire city so badly that he drove around the entire city, driving 165 miles per hour around the entire. Adam, I want you to see everything, everything. So he
All it
showed
was
me
was
the
a blur.
entire city.
It was a blur. Yeah.
165 miles per hour. That's
that
how
felt
fast
really
Pat
good.
drove.
Can I make one observation
Sure.
about Silicon Valley that I could never figure out? And you tell me if you feel the same way. My daughter grew up in San Jose.
Okay.
So I was in San Jose twice a month for 15 years.
Pepperdine daughter.
Yeah, she went to
Okay,
college
yeah.
at Pepperdine, but she grew up and went to high
Yeah.
school and everything in the Bay Area. There is no energy in Silicon Valley. Like, you cannot, it is not just no energy, it's dead. I could never figure out why, whenever I get off the plane and walk through the airport in San Jose, and I'm in the heart of Silicon Valley, it felt so dead. I was so happy when I didn't have to go there anymore. You know, I just dreaded it almost just because of what it felt like. But for a place so vibrant and so many creative people and so much money, it
Yeah.
just feels dead.
Tom, maybe you don't know the right places. Because
Maybe.
maybe you don't know the right spots to go to. Because what I know about guys up there, they're some of the biggest party animals in the world. Some of the guys behind closed doors, they put the most ridiculous underground parties.
I know
that
about
you
those
want,
stories. Yeah, they're
okay,
insane. Yeah.
That you want to get invited
Tom,
to. If
you
you're
don't get
single,
invited to those
if you
parties?
if
What's
you're
going
single,
on?
you want to go to those
I couldn't
parties.
go to them because I was always hanging out with my daughter, but I got
Well,
the
there you
invite.
go. There you go. You got to.
wish.
You went to a different kind of a party, a
Yeah.
family party. Okay. Is it time for us to go into the VP debate and just
Oh,
kind of
all right,
talk
yeah.
about the VP
Let's do
debate
it.
here? Okay. So if you're
excited
watching
again
this,
already.
I saw a bunch of the scores you guys posted. By the way, we got $50 from, let me see, Ricky Bobby's on with us today, guys. Ricky Bobby is on the podcast.
Hell yeah. If you ain't first, you're last.
First year last. You want to gain to
I want to go fast.
You want to go to 500,000 subscribers. Start talking about the independent contractors that haul freight. We never stop. Well, thank you, Ricky Bobby, for that $50 that you put out there.
Lunch is on Ricky Bobby.
Yeah, it is. So let's get right into it, gang. Okay, so what was the score? I saw a bunch of scores up there. Somebody said 0-0. Someone said 29-27. What was the VP debate score? Did it keep you going? Did you like it more than the presidential debate? So prior to going on to all the issues, Kai, if you want to pull up all the topics that they debated, pull that up. The topics that was discussed on a vice presidential debate. Let me see what you got here. Do you have any notes here yourself, Kai, on a VP debate, or no? Is there anything he has here, or no? Nothing really here. Okay. So last night's debate, what'd you think about it?
Do you want my score, or do
Yeah.
you want to know? Okay, it's not fair to ask me this question, by the way, because I am a professional sports commentator.
Okay.
So if I give you a score and it's a metaphor for a football game,
Yes.
you know I'm going to be right.
Tell us.
So I already won this. It was 25-3. 25-3.
You also, before you say
Pence.
who won, you obviously lean very far right.
No, I
So
don't. I
Come on, Tom.
evaluate
Just
what
tell
I
the
see.
truth.
I evaluate, and I'm going to tell you. Here's why it's
25-3.
25-3. He scored 4 touchdowns. 4. He missed 3 extra points. Okay, so he's not perfect. He's not even really that good.
Wow, terrible kicker, by the way.
Yeah, bad kicker. You know, it's the little things. It's the fundamentals sometimes. Yeah, 20, and she got a late field goal. I mean, look, I did not think it was a great debate. Maybe the bar was set so low from the first presidential debate, but at least that was compelling. It mattered. Now, this one may matter because of the age of the real presidential candidates, which frightens me even more, after watching that. But I didn't think it was a great debate. I didn't think the moderator did a fantastic job. I didn't think they brought a lot, and we can get into more details, but I'm going to give it a score of 25-3 Pence.
Typical Tom over here.
Let's see what you got. Let's see your score, buddy.
I got 100-0 Kamala. Just kidding.
I know
Relax.
you don't have that, but what's your
I
score?
got 13-13 as a tie in overtime. There was no clear winner. I thought that was a debate. That first debate between Trump and Biden was an absolute shit show. Sorry if you're under 18 and listening to this show.
Yeah.
Complete shit show. Trump acting like a baby. Biden couldn't hold it together. That was disgusting. This was a real debate. They actually was substantive. They actually covered a lot of ground. They each had a couple different good points. I could kind of go what I thought some good points were. I'm sure we'll get into it. But there was 2 things that they each needed to do. I thought Pence did a better job defending Trump's record than Trump did. Straight up. Pence, I mean, if I ever have a vice president, if I ever want to run a company, I want someone like Pence by my side. No matter how effed up.
And you say it's 13-13?
Okay, yes. Because Kamala did a great job. Because what was Kamala's job?
Great?
What was her point to do that? All she has to do is hold serve. She didn't pander to the left. She says, I agree with fracking. I'm good.
That's called a lie in the American
It is.
Is it?
lexicon?
She said just a few months ago that she.
I'm just saying.
would
That's
stop
what
at
she said there. So
Yeah, but that's a lie, buddy.
Buddy, Pence goes there and just lies like crazy.
Tell us.
Trump
did he
doesn't lie like crazy?
No. Tell us how Pence lied. I didn't say Trump. Tell us how Pence lied.
Let's talk about the super spreader event at the White House, at the Rose Garden.
Okay.
Let's just talk about that.
Yeah.
Who's the head of the coronavirus task force?
Himself.
Pence.
Okay.
He said, when they said, do you take any blame for basically 25 people in the close to the cabinet got COVID? Kayleigh McEnany, Hope Hicks.
Yeah.
Trump himself, his wife.
I think that's right.
Ridiculous.
No, I think you're right.
Half his cabinet has COVID. Are you freaking kidding me?
I think
and Pence is in charge of that.
And by the way, that's why they made that the first topic, because they knew they were going to lose people after the first topic. And she gave Kamala a very easy softball. Here you go. Soft pitch. Here, go hit this one here. And she opened it up with her line that she had prepared because she knew the first topic
What was the line?
What was the line?
Yeah.
She came out and saying, this is the worst handling of a crisis we've ever seen in the history of America. You know, I'm prefacing what she said, but something like that is what came out. And
so
set the whole thing up. But tell me about the lies. Tell me about the lies. Not lack of responsibility, but lies with Pence.
Number one, he talked about the V-shaped economy, the recovery. We know that it's not a V-shaped recovery. Maybe the stock market is V-shaped. Maybe the rich are getting richer, but it's clearly a K-shaped economy. Okay. We talked about how he tried to compare what's happening with COVID.
But the economy is a V-shape. Economy is a V-shape.
The stock market is.
Yeah.
The stock market. The
It
stock
is.
market isn't the economy, though.
It's a
We all know
reflection
that.
of the economy.
A reflection, but it's not.
Unemployment went from 8.3 to 7.9, 661,000
There's
jobs
still 20
created
million
last month.
people unemployed, though. Pat.
But you already employed half of them, though. You ain't going to do it in 2 months. How are you going to employ all these people, and you want them to do it in 2 months? Are you kidding
What do
me?
you mean? It's been 7 months since COVID started.
No, it's since COVID started. What I'm saying is from the peak. You want that recovery 2 months? It took Obama years to recover from what he had with Bush. So you can make the recovery, buddy. It's being recovered fairly quickly for what they have.
The stock market for sure, and Main Street, we're
Jobs
getting
as
there.
well. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure we'll
But I
cover the
want to know
topic
lies. I want to know specifically Pence's lies. Tell me where Pence lied.
where I thought number one, he ducked many questions.
Duck,
so did
yes.
she.
Duck,
so
yes.
did she. So did Kamala.
But,
like when
but
they
the
asked about
ducking of Pence was very different than Kamala.
Kamala, when it came to
She didn't know
stacking
how
the
to handle
court,
it,
she bobbed and weaved like she was Muhammad Ali,
Yeah.
straight up. Pence would just not answer a question. They asked him repeatedly, "Have you discussed a plan, like a succession plan? What happens?"
In
Didn't
case
answer
if
the
something
question.
happens
Didn't
to
answer the
Trump's
question.
health, the one with Trump's health.
Did not
or-
answer the question.
Okay.
Did not answer the question whatsoever. The fact that he tried to correlate H1N1 swine flu to what's happening now is beyond laughable.
Tell me why.
Are you kidding me? How many people died of the H1N1?
Buddy, it's not the point of how many people died. The swine flu wasn't as deadly as this. If it was, those 60 million cases that got it, if the same rate applied as COVID, 2 million people would have died.
If.
It's not about the if. It's about the fact that you let it spread. That's the part. It's about you let it spread and nobody shut down the economy. It was 60 million cases. They got lucky it wasn't deadly. How do you know how deadly a virus is?
I'm not here to defend.
No, but what
I'm not here to. I'm not a.
I will tell
I'm
you
not
what
an epidemiologist.
I will
I'm
tell
just
you,
saying the swine flu was nothing
I will
compared to
tell
COVID.
you where Pence lost. I
Tell
will
me.
tell you
Let's
where
hear
Pence.
it.
No, but what I'm trying to say is when it comes down to let me tell you what I did last night. Here's what I did last night. And I told this to Jen last night when I went to bed. And by the way, for those of you guys that are watching this, for me, my opinion, it's one of the best debates I've ever seen, okay, in a long time, okay? And when I say I'm talking, for me, it's the best VP debate ever that I've seen. I mean, I'm 41 years old. I haven't been around for a long time. I thought it was a great VP debate. Here's how I watched it. I tweeted it out yesterday. I said, Pence doesn't seem like a VP. Pence seems presidential. He doesn't look like a VP. Pence is the kind of guy that if your son said, I want to grow up to be like Pence, you would say, okay, no problem. Sounds like a really good guy. Sometimes on the other side, like, let me tell you, man, Trump inspired a lot of people to be Trumps. You know what I mean? A lot of people are like, if Trump's doing it, I'm going to do it as well. You know, sometimes when somebody takes a new president that becomes a president, people take after that person's personality. You know, when Obama was president, you were kind of like, okay, cool. You know, my boy wants to grow up to be like Obama. I'm good with that. You know, because he was what? He was a
Suave dude.
Yeah. You know, I want to grow up to be like Bill Clinton. Yeah, I don't know about that, buddy. You know, you may want to think twice, but maybe you one day be a president.
What's wrong with Bill Clinton?
Well, you know, some of the ways, personal life, all this stuff. You're like,
I'm good with it.
Listen, I voted for the guy. So I'm a fan of Bill Clinton. If I put Bill and let's just say Trump together, okay? I'm not as a leader. Remember, I am very logical and policies. I don't go emotion. Some of the parties go emotion. I don't go emotion. I go policies. I watched the debate yesterday. I'm like, dude, let me tell you. I would have no problem with my kids sitting there, my 8, 7, and 4-year-old sitting there listening to the whole debate. I'm not comfortable with them watching the other debate. But if they watch it last time, I'm like, okay, issues. Dad, what is that? Dad, what is vaccine? Dad, what is this? I love that. We had a conversation together, right? Okay. Here's the other part. I watched him and I said, try hating him. Try hating Pence. You can't do it.
A rational person can.
No, a rational person, try hating the guy. You can't do it.
Yeah.
I say, try hating Trump. What's the answer?
Very easy
to do.
Well, it's the biggest topic. I mean,
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like the way he comes in, let me tell you, I'm the best and I'm perfect. Like right now, even this morning with Mario Bartiromo, he's like, my health has never been better in 20 years. Dude, you're 20 years older. What do you mean your health has never been better? My health has never been better. I feel perfect. The keyword perfect.
You're perfect.
Right?
You've got COVID. You're perfect. Right.
So what I'm trying to tell you, but I understand why some people may not like his personality. I support policies. I don't go personality. Pence to me was presidential yesterday. Kamala, every time she was losing, she had that big laugh. The big laugh that she goes like this. I think I got caught. Let me laugh like it's not a big deal. And then boom, she didn't have an answer. It would happen twice. Both times. There was one time where Joe kept bringing up her record as a prosecutor, as what she did, and that was she kept doing this. She kept looking at the moderator like, hey, change the subject. And it's like, hey, okay, Vice President, Mr. Vice President, Mr. Vice. She's just looking to be safe. And says, I will not be lectured here to be undermined for my record.
Yeah,
you asked me to score. You asked me to score.
Yeah.
28-7. Pence killed it.
28-7.
Oh, it's not even close.
Get
not
out
even,
of here.
Bro, the fact that the way he reacted when they took shots was so impressive. You cannot learn that skill. He's just kind of standing there. He's like, thank you, Susan. You know, first of all, when I saw you, my wife and I celebrated when I saw you being selected and doing this. This was an incredible. I wanted to congratulate you in front of everybody. She's like, oh, thank you. And, you know, but at the same time, look, Kamala Harris, you may have the right to your opinions, but you don't have the right to your truth. In fact, and he just went through, and the way he did it, you're like, this is how this guy's going to negotiate behind closed doors? Are you kidding me? I'm good with this guy, the way he handles it. It seemed so presidential.
Do you think he would ever, after Trump, you think he would ever, A, run for president, and B, do you think he has any chance of being elected?
I do.
You think so?
I do.
Well, yeah.
I do. But he has to pick his VP the other way around, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
He needs a wild man as his VP?
Not a wild woman? Man, but he needs to pick his VP the way Trump picked his VP.
You know he would never have a woman as a VP. Never.
How do you know that?
Because he can't spend more time in the room
literally
with her.
cannot be alone in a room with a woman without his wife.
Christian.
I respect that.
You know, a couple things about that. You know, when no one knew who Pence was when Trump picked him, and maybe there was a method to the madness because he almost is the perfect counterbalance. And you saw that last night just in their personalities. You mentioned, Pat, that how can you hate him? You should see some of the tweets from Hollywood. Joy Behar, Alyssa Milano, they hate him. I mean,
I'm not surprised with that.
Isn't it? I mean, it's unbelievable.
But you got to realize, I understand why.
Yeah, here's my biggest problem with Kamala last night and why I think she got hammered is, A, she lied. Okay, Joe Biden did not save the auto industry. I don't know how you can go up there and just make that comment that Joe Biden saved the auto industry. You know, she's completely lying about fracking. They are going to stop fracking 100%. I thought, did Pence miss an opportunity by bringing up the fact that she called Joe Biden a racist during the presidency?
He missed a lot of opportunities.
I mean, that was the biggest
Yeah.
opportunity that he missed, and he's never going to get a chance to do it again. I thought that was a huge gaffe by him. And then my biggest problem with her, when the moderator asked her about China and made the question as specific as you can possibly be, are they an adversary, an enemy, a competitor? She didn't even mention the word China.
Yeah.
I mean, she didn't even answer it, and that answered the question to me that she's in cahoots.
Yeah. Well, here's what you got to think about. Kai, if you can pull up the topics that was brought up, here's how you got to think about that. So what is this? This is the VP. I want the VP one. Is this a VP debate? And these are the topics, right? Okay, let's go and look at the topics. Go down. Okay, go down. What was the one you had? I just saw a different one. Okay, is that the one that it is? Okay. So they talk about Trump. Fine. COVID-19. So, okay, let's just say Trump. Let's just say Trump is a difficult person to defend, and I thought no one in the world could have done a better job defending Trump than Pence. I don't think he could have said a better thing defending his president. I think he crushed it. I think he may be one of the best number two guys I've seen in a long time.
If I ever have a number two, I want a guy like Pence there.
Let me tell you.
No doubt.
Oh, by the way, I also thought Kamala did a very good job always bringing it back to Joe. I thought she did a fantastic job saying, and under a Joe Biden administration, and I think Joe Biden is this. And one of the things about Joe, she was doing a great job being a flag carrier.
She had to.
It's not about have to. It's you have to know how to do that. I thought she did a phenomenal job on that side defending her candidate. When they talked about COVID-19, they spent the most time talking about, sure, that makes sense. That's what we're going through. Then the economy, and then Biden, Supreme Court election, race, foreign policy. You know what's keep going down, keep going down, keep going down, keep going down, keep going down. Look how much time they spent talking about China.
45 seconds.
45 seconds. Look how much time they spent talking about abortion. 43 seconds. 43 seconds, they should have spent more time on it because Roe versus Wade, I mean, that's something that's going to be what they're worried about with the Supreme Court. Stacking the court. But China, you got 90 minutes. The number one enemy, okay, the cause of this. And Susan couldn't ask more questions about China. All I wanted to know about was China. It was like, China was like this. China, okay. So let's go.
She was terrible at follow-ups. She was horrible. She just didn't want to interrupt them, and she wanted to make sure that they weren't overgoing on their time. I mean, that was her big strategy.
By the way, I tell you, even though I know she leans left, I thought she did a good job. I'm not going to sit there and say I thought of course, she interrupted Pence a lot more than Kamala. And when Kamala's like, I need time to respond, she gave it to her, but she didn't give it to him. There was those couple minutes where she got 2 minutes like, okay, I'll give you 30 seconds. But he would say, I'll give you 15 seconds. But he would say, I would give you 30 seconds.
He would keep going over the clock.
But he has to.
But he never raised his voice when he did it.
No.
He did it so smooth.
He kept
So
speaking.
good.
She kept saying, thank you. Thank you.
He's so
thank
good,
you.
though.
One of
And
the observations.
Kamala
That's
kept
a
saying,
gift.
I'm speaking.
That's
I'm
a
speaking.
gift. That's a
it's
big
more
gift.
of a mental gift than anything to be
Yeah,
allow
no
yourself to not
question
raise your
about
voice.
it.
He kept
You know, when I watch Kamala Harris, and I'm just stating the facts here. I can totally understand how she didn't even make it to her home state for a primary, for the Democrats. I mean, she was not good. She's not good on stage. She's not believable. I find her condescending. I mean, it's scary to think that she's that close, and Biden thought that highly of her after everything that went down between them personally.
Speaking of China, I'll tell you a memorable line. I'm going to go down the middle here. I know you guys are going to be shocked by me just calling it like it is. She said, Trump lost the trade war to China. That was her claim. He says, well, Biden never fought it.
Yeah, that was big.
That was a big line.
Yeah.
Okay, respect.
That was big.
She said, Trump has called the military suckers and losers. He's blasted John McCain. She said, Pence said, listen, my son is in the Navy. My son-in-law is a Marine. Trump reveres the military. Okay, so he's going to bring it back to his family. Something tells me that even if Trump said those comments, hypothetically, Pence would say, sir, please understand military. Like, I think he would make Trump respect the military, no doubt. So, and then the thing that Kamala, where she definitely lost points with me, was she refused to answer the question on stacking the court.
Can you pull that up, by the way?
She
stacking
refused
the
to
court?
answer the question.
What'd you think about that, though? A non-answer, like she didn't even answer at all, though. There's a difference between avoiding versus like not answering at all.
She was basically saying, well, you want to talk about the court?
Stacking the
you
court.
want to talk about stacking the court?
Yeah.
And then she's
Went
to
a
like,
complete different direction.
I was like, where'd she go on that one? And then she talked about filling the Supreme Court with something else. They both talked about Breonna Taylor and justice. I thought they both had good responses on that.
Can you pause it? Because we can't hear it, Kai, just so you know. If you guys want to do audio on that, do we have
your
audio?
way. This is a classic case of if you can't win by the rules, you're going to change the rules. Now, you've refused to answer the question. Joe Biden has refused to answer the question. So I think the American people would really like to know, if Judge Amy Coney Barrett is confirmed to the Supreme Court of the United States, are you and Joe Biden, if somehow you win this election, going to pack the Supreme Court to get your way?
I'm so glad we went through a little history lesson. Let's do that a little more. In 1864,
Abraham Lincoln.
Well, I'd like you to answer the question.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
I'm speaking.
Look how calm he is.
In 1864,
Top
one of
ability.
the, I think, political heroes, certainly of the president, I assume of you also, Mr. Vice President, is Abraham Lincoln.
Mm-hmm.
Abraham Lincoln was up for re-election. And it was 27 days before the election. And a seat became open on the United States Supreme Court. Abraham Lincoln's party was in charge not only of the White House, but the Senate.
Can you show the clip of Abraham Lincoln?
But Honest Abe
saying that?
said,
show the
not the
interview
right
of
thing to
Abraham
do.
Lincoln on CBS.
the American people
She thinks we're so
deserve
stupid.
to make the decision
That is so
about who will
condescending.
be the next president
Now
of
watch
the United
this.
States.
Watch this.
And then that person can select who will serve for a lifetime on the highest court of our land.
I just want to see her.
He's not.
laugh.
You can
And
tell
so
he's not
Joe
even
and I are
listening.
very
He's just
clear.
waiting to
The
respond.
American
Answer
people
the
are
question.
voting right now, and it should be their decision about who will serve on this most important body for a lifetime.
Watch this.
Thank you,
And
Senator
the
Harris.
people, Susan, are voting right now. They'd like to know if you and Joe Biden are going to pack the Supreme Court if you don't get your way in this nomination.
Let's talk about packing.
You once
Come
again
on.
gave a non-answer. Joe Biden
Laugh.
gave a non-answer.
Trying to answer you
The
now.
American people deserve a straight answer. And if you haven't figured it out yet, the straight answer is they are going to pack the Supreme Court if they somehow win this election.
No, but you got to show it after that, because there's a part right after that when she says, "I will show you." Okay, go see if it's the 338 one.
There is a huge
No.
fundraising deadline
Go
coming
back.
up.
How many minutes was that? Go to the 338 one. Yeah, that one right there.
When you speak about the Supreme Court,
Keep
though, I
going.
think the
Go
American
to
people
2 minutes
really
and 20
deserve an answer,
seconds.
Senator
Yeah,
Harris.
right there, right there.
You haven't figured it out yet. The straight
Okay.
answer is they are going to pack the Supreme Court if they somehow win this election.
Watch this. So then
Men and
Susan
women,
changes
I
the
gotta tell people
question,
across this
but then
country, if you
Kamala
cherish
gets
our
pissed.
Supreme Court, if you cherish the separation of powers, you need to reject the Biden-Harris ticket. Come November the 3rd, re-elect President Donald Trump, and we'll stand by that separation of powers in a 9-seat Supreme Court.
Yeah, let's talk about packing the court then. Let's talk about the
Please.
fact. Yeah, I'm about to.
I'm about to.
You do know
So, the Trump-Pence administration has been, because I sit on the Senate Judiciary Committee, Susan,
Watch
as you
this.
mentioned, and I've witnessed the appointments for lifetime appointments to
She is
the
very
federal
presentable,
courts, district courts,
but
courts of appeal.
Snobby a little
People
bit.
who are purely ideological, people who have been reviewed by legal professional organizations and found to have been not competent, are substandard. And do you know that of the 50 people
Wait.
who President Trump appointed to the Court of Appeals
I
for
hope they
lifetime
leave the
appointments,
last 7
not
seconds
one
of
is
what he
black?
says.
This is what they've been doing. You want to talk about packing a court? Let's have that discussion.
Wait, Kai. Oh, they still
Oh,
didn't
my
put
God.
it. I mean, it's so...
It's the biased
because
media
he's-
cutting it off.
But you know what he says right afterwards? He says, just to get it on record, she
did
never
not
answered the question. Yeah. So
which as someone who, picked a tie score here, I will say I deducted points for that. She did not answer the question.
It's human
right there.
reaction. She never once shook her head. If you just watched her as he was saying that, if you had no plans of stacking the court, you'd be like, just instinctively,
Yeah.
you'd be shaking your head. She didn't do it.
yeah.
Pat, a couple topics if we want to address these. They talked about taxes,
Yeah.
right? And they talked about
$400,000.
raising
If
the
you
taxes.
make less than
that they would-
$400,000,
they would
they're not
only
going to raise it.
They would only raise it if you make only unless you make $400,000 or
You
more.
believe that? Do you believe that?
Do I believe that?
Do you
I
believe
think
that?
one way or another, whether it's happening this year,
Uh-huh.
next year, 4 years, taxes are going to have to go up in this country.
No, but on which administration you think taxes are going to go up?
For sure, the Democrats.
Okay, so
but you're
do
asking
you
the
think
threshold.
the people making less than
brackets.
$400,000 are going to be affected if they raise if they say they're not going to raise the taxes on them. You think they're going to be affected? What do you actually think? I'm actually asking a very serious question.
Do I think that?
So she says, and Biden says, if you're making less than $400,000, you're not going to be affected. Do you think they're going to be affected?
Depends if they change the tax brackets. Is that what you're asking?
But they're saying they won't. Do you believe? They're like when Obama said.
I don't believe.
When Obama says.
Yeah.
You can keep your health. If you like your health insurance,
Sure.
you can keep it. You're not going to pay one new tax, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. And then we have the 3.6%, 3.9% ACA tax.
Of course.
Okay.
Do you know who lies? You know who a liar is? You know who the biggest liar is?
Both sides.
Every single one of them.
But what's not what I'm asking you.
They all lie.
No, but what I'm telling you is Trump said I'm going to lower taxes, and he did. Trump said he's going to lower taxes, and he did.
Corporate taxes, right?
Of course, when he did, we have one of the highest corporate taxes in the world in the U.S. U.S. has one of the highest corporate taxes in the world.
He lowered it, what, from 35 to 20, 21?
23, some
Yeah.
number like that, right?
Yeah.
But the day he did it, I gave everybody here a $100 bonus per month you've been with me.
I didn't get anything, man.
You weren't
I got
here
nothing.
that then.
I
That
got
was
nothing.
3 years ago. Should have been
Help me
here.
out here, buddy.
Retroactively.
What I'm
100
saying,
bucks.
by the way, if there is again a lower taxes, everybody will get a bonus.
Oh my goodness,
That's what
lunch is
I
on
do.
me that day.
Yeah.
Okay,
But the
Eric,
point I'm
Sam,
the point
Luis,
I'm trying to
lunch
make
is on me
is, do
that
you
day.
actually think taxes are not going to go up for people making less than 400?
Do I think taxes are going to
Folks,
go
I
up?
want
He
you to
never
get this
answered.
on the record.
On the
He's
record.
pulling a Kamala Harris.
Listen,
Okay, let me speak.
let's talk about taxes. Let's talk about taxes. Let's have a conversation about taxes. So as I was
Are
saying,
you gonna
as
stack
I was
the
gonna
court?
say, read my lips. No new taxes, okay? Anyway, let's talk about the military. Listen, do I think taxes are going up? Yes.
Under Biden.
Yes.
Okay, so Biden gets elected. The people making less than 400,000 taxes are still going to go
How
up.
low do you want to go, though? Do you are you 100,000, 200,000?
Do you think the person
300,000?
making 36K is going to be affected?
No.
100% they are.
You think 100%?
100% they are.
So if you're making 36K, you're in a 12%
You want me to tell you
marginal
how?
tax
You want me to tell
bracket.
you why 100% they are?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, you raise the corporate taxes. What do I have to do? I have to fire 5 people. So right now, I got more people working because I can afford it.
Mm-hmm.
You fire them? How much money have I taken from Valuetainment?
Not much.
No, not much. The answer is 0. It's been a loss every
The
year.
50 the guy that gave us $50 today. We're gonna take that.
That's
for
going
lunch. Yeah.
straight back into the
That's
cost.
going to
This is
Kai.
expensive to do all this stuff, right? 0.
Yeah.
What's the point here? It's not about like, oh my gosh, let me take the money, all this other stuff. I'm building a company. Just let me build a company. I'm going to hire people. I don't care what it is. I'll hire. If these people get the work done and I do my part, I'm doing my part to build a company. We create an environment, create a good benefit plan. We match 401k. We give good health insurance. We are in a fun environment to be in. We bring the right talent, right? Okay. If he raises the corporate taxes from 23 to 35, I have to fire 10% of my employees.
But that's not what they said. They didn't talk about corporate taxes.
But what I'm
Pat.
saying, no. What she did say is day one, all the taxes that Trump gave to his rich friends, we're going to revert
They
back
did
to what.
say that.
Okay,
They
then.
did
So
say
that's
that.
exactly what they
Okay,
did.
but that's two different topics.
But it's
right
not
there.
two different
corporate
topics.
tax rate
It's-
and the
but it's
and federal income tax rate.
The corporate tax rate goes up, the $38,000 a year person is affected.
So I'm good with the lower corporate tax rate. Just
But
so we're
it's
clear,
going to
I'm
go
good with
higher.
that.
Just so you know, it's going to go higher.
I'm not good with the 35. I think as a business owner, you deserve
what
to have you create jobs. You're a job creator.
Yeah, what
you
I'm-
deserve a lower tax
Yeah,
rate.
all I'm saying to you is they're raising it. And
Mm-hmm.
when they raise it, yes, they can say, we're not going to raise taxes on the $38,000 a person. Okay, fine. Let's say you are telling the truth on that. But if you raise the taxes on corporate, they have to fire people. It's how things work.
Right.
They have to fire people.
I'm with you on this.
Yeah.
I'm with you on this. That doesn't necessarily mean that the federal income tax rate is going to go higher or lower. You're just saying the ramifications of a different tax structure as a business owner.
Okay.
You'll have to
So I got this text.
fire
I got
people.
this a picture here from a friend. I won't say the name because he probably doesn't want me to mention that he sent me this. He sends me a picture saying, vote to raise taxes on the rich property owners. Then on the bottom, the girl says, I'm confused why rent was raised. Oh, how come my rent's going from $1,200 a month to $1,400 a month? Because they raise taxes on the people that own the corporate properties. I'm confused. How come I'm not getting my raise that you guys were giving me? Because I'm confused. I used to get 40 hours a week. You just turned me part-time. What happened here? It's because administration that wants to raise taxes got me to make you go part-time. I'm confused. How come we're not given the kind of health insurance we were given before? Because I'm confused. How come we don't have the 401k benefits we had before? Because of corporate taxes are increasing. It's the highest in the world. U.S. had the highest corporate tax rate. So what do you mean you're not going to
That was
touch taxes?
pre-Trump, you're saying.
Of course.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you a hypothetical
Biden
question.
is Obama.
Let
It's
me
the
ask you a
same
question.
tax rate.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Prior to Trump increasing the corporate tax rate,
Yeah.
were companies doing okay in America? Were companies figuring it out? Were big companies figuring it out? Were the Apple and Google?
Which companies?
All
Which-
companies.
No, wait a minute. Which companies were figuring it out?
All companies.
Big companies were figuring it out?
I'm asking you. Weren't companies
who had the
figuring it
biggest
out?
edge? Who had the biggest edge?
Big companies,
Of
right?
course they did.
Yeah, of course.
Because they have the dollars and they have lobbyists that work to get certain laws
Weren't
and
small
regulations to make it
businesses
harder to
also
compete
figuring
with.
it out too?
Not at the same level. Small businesses were not figuring it out at the level as the other guys were. Small businesses, let them keep the money and invest back into the business.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, do you know the whole concept about rich people buy Rolls Royces and Ferraris and all this other stuff? All they do is waste their money. Do you know the cyclical cycle of how money works? Whether you tax me 5%, 1%, 0%, 20%, the money's going back into the economy. Do you want me to unpack that message, what I
Please
just said,
do,
right?
please
Okay,
do.
let's just say you have this, because the worry is the rich guy's going to spend the money to do what? Buy
Yachts and
$500,000
boats, yeah.
watches and yachts and boats and, all this other stuff, right? I'm going to buy another vacation home. I'm going to buy this, all this stuff. Let's just say the guy has a lot filled with Lambos, Ferraris, Porsches, all the other stuff. Put all the crazy cars he's got. He's the qualified rich guy that they talk about, okay? When you buy the Lambo, who creates the Lambo?
The workers.
Okay, who's getting paid for doing the work? When you buy the Lambo, who does the oil change? When the tire gets broken, when 12 of my Rolls Royce tires were torn within a span of 12 months, each of those tires were $850. Who do you think made money? The tire company. Who do you think made money? The guy that put the tires on. Who else do you think made money? The guy that had to come and tow me from. I had to spend money. The money always goes back into the economy.
You're saying that's a trickle-down economy.
Even if the money stays in mutual funds. Say I take the money and I say, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put all this money into the stocks. I'm going to put it in the mutual funds. That money is being reinvested into a job, into some. Money's flowing constantly. This concept of money is scaring the hell out of people that we got to higher taxes, raise taxes on rich people. What are you talking about? Somebody needs to take a basic math class. What do you mean if I raise the taxes? We have the highest corporate tax rate. To say that we're going to revert back to what it was day before, what do you call it, Trump? Great, go ahead and do that. But you cannot say the people under $400,000 your income are not going to be affected. Like this, they're going to be affected.
You know what
day
the
that
bottom
happens.
line is, and this is the truth. People's hatred of Trump has precluded them the ability to think straight. I mean, the hatred for him supersedes anything. You know, you can't make a rash decision in this election because the number one thing, I mean, if people were to look at this objectively and see, you know, like it's your life's going to change, your taxes are going to go up, the whole thing. But I think it's the hatred of Trump is so powerful that people can't make a rash decision.
He brought it onto himself, though. I mean, you got to realize that part of it as well. You know, when you go out like that, this is how I see it. He came out the gates, and the way he got all the attention is by saying what? The people are crossing the border and they're
Mexicans
rapists and drugs.
The
And
wall.
he didn't
Some
say
are
all of them.
decent
He said
people.
some of them are decent, but they're
Yeah.
doing okay. Guess what he did? His campaign was, let me shock factor. That was his campaign. Let's just face it. The way he went from being, no one on day one saw him as a top 15 guy. They saw him as a number 16 guy. He said, I'm going to get the media on the news. And every day CNN bashed him, MSNBC bashed him, MSNBC. They had him on every day. Do you remember back in the days when CNN and MSNBC had him on every day?
All the time.
Every day
After
they had
every
him on.
debate, they
Every
couldn't
day. Hey,
wait to
Trump,
interview
every day,
him.
because he got all of a sudden they're like, dude, we're giving this guy too much. So we have to give him credit for his strategy worked. It worked. But the other side is your strategy also pissed a lot of people off, which you're going to have a lot of enemies. That's your game you played. You can't, like, the Detroit Pistons cannot be ticked off that people hate them. Dude, that's Chuck Daly's
But
strategy.
you have to evolve a little bit too, because he's not the unknown anymore. So he's bringing on some of these bullets to himself right now.
But by the way, the Pistons won multiple championships. Like, I'm not telling you that strategy. The Philadelphia Flyers of the 1972, I don't know if you know the story, the 1972
Broad Street Bullies.
Dude,
right?
these guys went and they played. The Philadelphia Flyers went and played against Russians, the Olympian champions hockey team. They faced them after this was a freaking what do you call it when there was
friendly match?
It's a friendly match, but they call it something else. Not
Exhibition game?
Exhibition game.
Yeah.
Do you know what happened after the first period?
Kick the shit out of him.
Dude, the Russians weren't coming out of the freaking. They weren't coming out of the locker room.
Yeah.
The freaking Gorbachev had to call them and say, "What the hell you guys are doing? Get the hell out of there! You're not going to show Russians for us to be scared. Because the Philadelphia Flyers were whooping their asses."
Yeah.
Single-handedly kicking their ass, punching them, hitting them.
Like
They
literally kicking the shit out
Literally,
of
they said,
them.
we're going to
It's
show
the
you how
only
we...
sport in the
Dude,
world.
that's
It's like
hockey.
UFC
But
on
that's
skates.
that
So you know
team
what
in
happened? You know what
general.
happened the next year? From 1972 to 1974?
The NHL was afraid of him.
The hockey rule book went from this big to this big because of the
It should,
Flyers.
it should.
It should. What I'm trying to say
UFC
is,
on skates.
if you're Chuck Daly and you want your Pistons to play the way they do, if you're the Philadelphia Flyers, you want your players to play they do, if you're Trump, you're going to get some... I'm sorry, you're the most hated because that approach is you're punking everybody. But it's the game he wants to play. That's totally fine. What I'm trying to do to the voter, here's what I'm trying to do to the voter, okay? Go to Bush, okay, for example. Go to Clinton. When Clinton did this stuff with Monica Lewinsky, like, oh my gosh, she should be telling me what goes on. Dude, I don't sit there and watch the president and say, I'm going to live my life based on your values. I'm going to live my life based on my values. Monica Lewinsky, what she did, look, more power to you. It is what it is. I don't know what it is to be married to Hillary. I have no clue what it is to be married
not
to
fun.
Hillary.
It's not
I'm
fun.
going to assume it's not fun, okay? I'm going to assume it's not fun. So she pushed him,
sexy
all that
time.
other stuff. I don't know this story.
Yeah.
Here's what I will tell you. When people were bashing Bill Clinton, you know what I said? I said, dude, why don't you go try to get Newt Gingrich on the other side to sit there and negotiate and get our national debt to be where it's at? I don't really care if there's a Monica Lewinsky.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how Hillary is as a wife. You ever met a man married to a miserable woman? It sucks. You ever met a woman married to a miserable guy? It sucks. It's absolutely horrible. So I don't know what it is to be married to Hillary, but I do know his policies worked during that time. For
sure.
So when you go to Bush and go, oh, Bush this and Bush is evil. I don't know. Bush comes across as a very, Bush Sr., brilliant guy. I can't sit there and look at Bush Sr. That guy concerns me a little bit. But his son seems like a good guy to me.
Have a beer
good
with
old
him.
boy.
You know what? I was drinking whiskey my entire life, and one day I couldn't remember what happened the night before. And I told my wife, this is the last time I went and took all the bottles of whiskey and I trashed him. And that day I changed my life. And boom, he becomes a president, right?
Yeah.
You know what? I like that. I made some bad decisions. When we had him on, I was interviewing him. I made some bad choices in my life. Well, I made a lot of bad choices in my life. But one day I decided to change. You know what? Cool.
Respect.
When you go to Obama and people say, oh, but he's such a great speaker. I'm like, dude, he is. I just don't like his policies. You got to be careful with his policies. Trump is such an asshole, but his policies for economy, I am not about, like, for example, when they're talking about abortion, when they talked about abortion yesterday, and the topics came up about, Roe versus Wade. what's going to happen there? Because that's the biggest concern. What are you going to do? One of the questions was, what are you going to do if they go out there and do this? What is the state of California going to do? And how are you going to handle in your state? Because that's the whole thing with, wanting to tax abortions, have taxpayers pay for the abortion. That's what Pence talked about. Okay, pro-life, pro-choice. 41% of Americans are Christians. Most of them are what? Pro-life. 59% of Americans are non-Christians. Some of them are Catholic. Some of them are, say, other denominations. Some of them are pro-life. Some of them are pro-choice. What does it come down to? At what point the definition of life? Mm-hmm. Then you have to figure that part out. But that's a debate between science, faith that they need to have together and come out with a timeline, right? But that's a social issue. Gay marriage, all this other stuff. Gay marriage, you want to get gay, you want to get married to a guy? Dude, I went to a gay club for 2 years. My best friends were all gay in the Army. They were all gay.
In the Army?
Oh, bro, they were freaking, so many. How many, you were in the Marines, how many guys did you see? Like, some of these guys were freaking, dude, let me tell you.
All Eric's best friends
let
gay.
me put it to you
Very
this
good,
way.
Pat.
In the Army, no,
Yeah.
when I said in the Army, when I'm in Fort Campbell, Kentucky, dude, we had, I can't say the names, we had a number of guys at our unit. All gay.
Scotty,
Yeah,
Tom, Bobby,
I'm
Bill.
telling you,
military back then?
dude, you know how it
Henry.
happened? One
Okay.
day we went to a club. We went to a club in Tennessee called Connections. You went to this club, we'd go to every weekend. It was Studio 54. Exactly. If you've seen the movie Studio 54.
Yeah.
You're like, dude, these are some of the coolest cats.
Were they married? I mean, were they?
But it was one thing, you made it clear. It's like, listen, man, I like women. Just don't put your stuff on my face. I'm going to not put my stuff in your face.
Literally.
I said that. I said, we're going to get along. You do what you got to do. I'm going to do what I got to do. Just respect me. Hey, what's up? How you doing? Hey, what's up, Greek God? All this, that nickname, because back then, I had a physique.
you're a
and
Greek god, baby.
I was a Greek God. I had a
There
good
it is.
time
You
for
see
those
the abs
3-year
on
run
this guy.
rate was a different run rate. But the point I'm trying to make to you is those are social issues.
Mm-hmm.
I don't go to social issues. The challenge with this election is the emotional people are going to vote emotionally. And that's a recognition on the amount of hatred they're driving on Trump's personality and how he is. Mm-hmm. But they're not going to the policies. If you vote emotionally, you will be controlled emotionally. If you vote logically and you look at policies, you are going to be affected by
And the
taxes.
Democrats fuel that fire, and they're going to swoop in, and that's
Let me say something when I actually, just to kind of build upon Tom's point and to build upon your point. Tom made a point that some
I'm sorry,
people,
gay Marine still sounds funny.
Eric was almost offended when he said
He's
that.
like,
Eric's like,
very
no,
little.
I'm
Oh,
zero
you go right
I don't
now.
know what you're talking about, bro.
Don't throw me in that one right there.
Zero, none, zero. Eric over there. So Tom made a point, which I actually agree with. He said some people hate Trump so much that they can't see past their hatred from him. And you said that's how he started his campaign. Mexicans are rapists.
Yeah.
There's good people on both sides. So what I'll tell you is this. I have the ability to understand why people hate Trump so much, but I also have the ability to say, you know what? I agree with that. Okay? So as an example, people hate Trump so much. From day one, they said, I do not like this person. There's no way I would advocate for this person. There's no way I would vote for this person. I hate this person, straight up. I dislike this person. I don't like to use the word hate. They dislike this person, but they hate him. So then when Trump does stuff like moves the Israel embassy to Jerusalem, I'm like, that's great. Good for you. When he makes peace in the Middle East with the UAE and Bahrain, this is peace in the Middle East. What are we talking about here? How do you disagree with that? But people, and this is, like you said, Trump's fault. People don't just reverse hate easily. If they say, look, I do not like this person 4 years ago, they're not just going to magically say, well, I'm coming around on him. They're fixed in. Just like people 4 years ago, if they love Trump and he's the best and MAGA, and they're not switching from that. So,
Well, they're going to pay a big price because it's going to allow. I mean, it's not just hating Trump. There's another side that wants to literally change the country and how this country is, how it is going forward. And he's creating the opportunity with that personality that people hate. And when people say this is the biggest and most important election, that is not hyperbole. I mean, that is what's happening here in less than a month is really a big deal.
I got a friend of mine that called me yesterday who is involved in some charities, some politics. He was in D.C. for many years, so he's very directly connected with a lot of the stuff that's happening. He's in his early 70s, late 60s, pretty connected politically. He said, I've never been this scared about the future of America as I am today. I said, tell me why. He said, look, say Trump gets reelected. He says, forget about it. Let's just say Trump does get reelected. I said, okay. He said, what happens after 4 years? You know, what happens after 4 years? Eventually, somebody on AOC and Bernie's side is going to get elected. That's the direction we're going. He said, whether it's in 4 years, it's in 8 years, it's in 12 years, it's in 16 years, it's in 20 years, it's in 24 years, it's in 28 years. It is going to happen. And when that happens, what happens next? Actually think about that. So imagine today AOC is 47. By the way, AOC yesterday said fracking is bad. She tweeted it out. So she was totally like going up against Kamala Harris. Like, what do you mean? Defend it? Because they don't want to understand left is being pulled to the far left. And somebody on even on the DNC side, Kamala's the most left leader, political leader we have today. Even further left than Bernie is what they call Kamala. But anyways, what happens if an AOC gets elected? She's 47. You're a dummy if you don't like AOC. I'm fine with that. If you hate her policies, I'm fine with that. But you're naive and a fool if you don't think she has a career in politics. You're absolutely naive and a fool if you don't think she's got a career in politics.
Are you talking about Kamala? Or
AOC? No, AOC is a superstar for Democrats and socialists. Superstar for Democrats and socialists. You don't find people like that just come around that they're that good at playing the game. So
and attractive.
So she's 47. Imagine she's 47. 30. No, I'm saying when she's 47. I know she's 30.
15 years from now.
Yeah, I'm talking 15 years from now, 20 years from now. She's 45 or 50 years old, okay?
I didn't realize she was that young.
She's a baby, exactly. So imagine
she was a waitress 4 years ago.
I understand, Starbucks. Yeah, imagine she's 45, 50 years old, and she runs, okay? And at that point, right now she's got 8 million followers on Twitter. At that point, she's got 50 million followers, 100 million followers. She's a rock type of a person, massive following. She runs. She gets elected. Do you know what happens to the idea of America? Poof, it's gone. Because always remember this. It's a lot easier to go from capitalism to socialism than it is to go from socialism to capitalism. Very hard. To have a kid being raised in a family where parents spoiled him, to have a kid be raised in a family where parents spoiled him, it's very hard to get that kid to go to a different father that's like, wake up, what are you doing? Like imagine you're raised in a millionaire's house and your dad's a millionaire. He's got all the money in the world and you're sleeping in, kicking back. Everybody loves you. Nobody holds you accountable. Everything's chill. Mom, you don't talk to me like that. You don't talk to me like that. You know I'm going to call the cops on you, Mom. You know those kids, right? Those brats. Say the father dies and the father didn't do the right things with the finances. Now he's broke. Now she's broke. He's dead. She has no money to herself. He had no life insurance. All these lawsuits, taxes she's got to pay. She goes, lives in an apartment. She ends up marrying a former Marine, okay, who wakes up in the morning, discipline, all this other stuff. That kid, the new stepdad says, what are you doing, John? I'm sorry, make your bed. I don't make my bed. My daddy didn't make me do, you don't. Oh, I'm paying the bills, buddy. You make your bed. Give me the key. Give me your phone. Give me this. I hate you, okay? I hate you. Why'd you marry an asshole like this, Mom? He sucks, right?
You did that impersonation very well.
Watch this here. Watch
Good
this.
character development.
Now flip it.
Yeah.
Flip it, okay? Kid is got a dad like Eric, a Marine. Stud. Hey, kid, wake up, clean yourself. By the way, when he does meetings, I always watch his stuff, what things he says. You can tell a military guy. Mm-hmm. Did you clean after yourself? What do we do after finish the food? What do you say to your mom? What do you say to this? Who washes the dishes? What happened with the shoes? Why don't you put them over there? Did you make your bed? So at first, kid's like, dude.
Eric tells me that every morning. I'm like, I'll make my bed, Eric.
What I'm trying to tell you is this kid doesn't know better. All he knows is that's what he's raised around. Then all of a sudden, that father dies, okay? Then another father shows up, the stepdad. Don't worry about the plate, man. It sucks. Sometimes I don't like to do the plate myself as well. Oh, don't worry about the bed, dude. It's all good, man. Oh, put your shoes wherever you want, dude. I throw my socks there. It's okay. Your mom's going to get it. It's easier to go from high standards to low standards than to go from low standards to high standards. If we make the flip to eventually an AOC over the next, I'm not worried about today. I really am not worried about today. But I am worried about 20 or 40 years from now because eventually someone like her is going to get elected. I am telling you right now, the idea of America is gone. You're going to need a second option as a country. And my only concern is, what is the other country left that offers the free enterprise, the freedom of speech, the freedom of press, the freedom of all of this other stuff that America's idea was founded on? What's another country that has that? What is option number 2? Because eventually, the way we're giving so much of the platform, 95% of media controlled by the left, socialist ideas are being pushed down our kids' throat right now. Rich people are bad, being told by teachers in school. Eventually, this is going to work on the side of them, someone is going to get elected. So today, not a big deal. 4 years from now, I think the right's got a good bench with, what do you call it, Pence, or what do you call it, Cruz, or Rubio, or even some of these Charlie Kirks coming up, or Candace Owens coming up, Shapiro's coming up. These are all good people the bench is getting deeper on the right, that at least believe in those freedoms, but the bench on the left is very deep as well right now. Very, very deep.
Yeah, but here's the problem. They're not, day one, they're not going to waste this opportunity if they do get in. So I am worried about right now almost as much as I am about 20 years from now.
Yeah, no, I get you. But my worry is, so for example, my concern is this. When you're in your 20s, you can eat pizza and get away with it. Remember when you were in your 20s? Like for example, he can eat 15 pizzas. Nothing will happen to his belly next day. He's going to go to the bathroom 50 times, okay? And the next day, he still looks skinny, right? In your 30s, what goes? You can't eat like that because your belly pops out a little bit. You go, ooh, salad and salmon, please. Okay, is what I will
Dressing on the
have.
side?
In your 30s, you start saying salad. Now, when the hell did you ever say salad? I have salad. Put the dressing on the side, and please take the croutons off. And I'd like the
This is
salmon
what Tom
to be
does every time he
a
orders, by
certain
the way.
kind of a.
This is Tom,
yeah,
by the way.
Exactly.
You're quoting Tom.
Verbatim, man.
And
It's like a
Sean does
script.
Sean does right. They're holding
Talk
us
about
accountable.
military.
Well, she was holding all of us accountable. That was. Try some of this bun. What was the bread at that one place?
Oh,
that
at the
was
Strand
like
House? Yeah, the
cracked.
Strand
It
House
was
was
so
good.
ridiculous.
Yeah, right? And they put like 8 in front of
Dude, it was so delicious. So Shauna's like, you got to try this. But then in your 40s, what happened in your 40s, Adam? What goes in your 40s?
Your gut, bro. Your metabolism.
That's
it's what's
30s.
going.
40s is flexibility.
Oh,
40s
no,
is
I haven't
go,
gotten that yet.
I go to the
that far
gym.
yet.
What do you mean? The reason why you don't have it is because you're always stretching.
I'm always.
Every time I see you, you're stretching. By the way, you lost the audio of Adam, right? He's stretching, okay? So, and then 50s, what happens? Other things go in your 50s, right? Maybe 50s, you need to go visit somebody on the Cialis and the Viagra side. You know, you're like, hey, doc, this thing is, gravity's working against me many different ways, and I can't do anything about it, right? What's the point here? Here's the point. Today, regardless of what you do, my interest is long-term solution. I don't like Band-Aids. We are having Band-Aids today. You know why I like Texas? What did he say? It's in our Constitution. Constitution, that we will never have state taxes. Constitution. That's permanent. It gives me a lot of trust. Florida has that as well, by the way. But America is getting to a point right now where, I don't know, we're about to go into some weird stuff with taxes. So if we had in the Constitution, federal taxes will never be above 30%. Federal taxes will never be above 25%. In the Constitution, like it'll never, ever be above that. That gives somebody like me confidence to know I can go out there and do what I'm doing. But today it's a little bit scary because I wouldn't be surprised if taxes go to 60 or 70% over the next 10 or 20
Well,
years.
they've been high before. Like when Reagan was an actor, the story about Reagan when he was an actor in Hollywood, tax rate was freaking 90%.
Yes, but
I don't know if people know that. The tax rate in America
above $1 million. Above $1 million, it was 90%. It wasn't for everybody.
Marginal tax rates, right?
Yeah.
Like there was 90%. What people are like, what are you talking about? How are tax rates that high? Look at tax rates over the last 100 years. Only since basically the 1970s, I want to say, 1960s, have tax rates been this low.
By the way, I didn't even look at the numbers. We got 3,500 people live with us right now. That's the
Sick,
highest
man.
ever we've had. If you're watching this, if you're enjoying this, first of all, thanks for joining us. Put the thumbs up, comment below, click on the subscribe button and the alert button. We got a couple more topics to go through. By the way, while this whole thing is taking place, this morning, Trump goes on Maria Bartiromo, okay? And they announce right before that, he gets a message saying that, if you have it, Kai, let's show it. He gets the message saying that they are moving the second debate to a virtual debate. If you haven't heard this yet, by the way, this just happened this morning. They just announced that they're moving it to virtual debate, and this is what Trump had to say about the debate. You got to hear this.
At the second debate, we have a never-Trumper as a host, but that's okay because I'd beat him in the second debate also. And but I'm not going to do a virtual debate.
So Mr. President, you're not going to do it because the CPD, the Commission on Presidential Debates, announcing this morning that the second presidential debate will be virtual. Are you saying you're not going to participate?
No, I'm not going to waste my time on a virtual debate. That's not what debating's all about. You sit behind a computer and do a debate. It's ridiculous. And then they cut you off whenever they want. I have a host who I always thought was a nice guy, but I see he's a never-Trumper. You know,
Doesn't sound good, by the way.
Never-Trumper.
His voice sounds bad.
We do have some of them, Maria.
He still has COVID,
because
most
they don't
likely.
like to win. But I'm not doing a virtual debate. They didn't even tell us about the debate, Maria.
So you just learned this morning?
Yeah, we learned it the same way you learned it. They called up 2 minutes ago, and it was announced. And they're trying to protect Biden. Everybody is. They're trying, like that NBC disaster where he went on this show with Lester Holt. It was like it was meant for a child. It wasn't meant for a grown person. He gets up and he says, "We're not fracking. We're not fracking." He was fracking for 6 months. He was fracking. He was raising his very thin hand, and he was fracking.
Thin hand.
And now all of a sudden he's not fracking. Well, tell the Pennsylvania people that you're going, it's ridiculous. He said he's not fracking. That's all he said. And then all of a sudden he goes to a fracking mode. And how about her? She committed her life to it. And all of a sudden she's a fracker. She's a big fracker. They're going to stop fracking the minute they get into office. They're lying to everybody. They're lying about so many different things.
Tom,
but you have to confront people. You can't do it.
I want to talk to you about that. I want to talk to you about what you heard last night. But Mr. President, you say you're not going to do this debate. Address the criticism, Mr. President, the criticism that you removed your mask for a photo op. You got to the top of the steps. You removed it. People are worried about your recent diagnosis. Now you've got 30-plus people with coronavirus in and around the White House. Address that concern for us, Mr. President, as you tell the Commission on Debates you're not going to do this virtually.
Yeah, well, first of all, I think I'm better when to a point where I'd love to do a rally tonight. I wanted to do one last night, but I think I'm better to a point that I feel better than I did, I jokingly said 20 years ago. I feel perfect.
I feel perfect.
There's nothing wrong.
Would you admit his voice does not sound 100%?
I disagree. I think he sounds fine.
You think he sounds fine?
He's getting the quips in there. If he was sick, he wouldn't be able to drop
I'm not
those
talking
lines.
about what he's saying. I'm saying
Anybody
his
can have a
actual
scratchy
voice
voice.
sounds.
From heaven because
His voice sounds scratchy.
Because of what I went through, and I had I felt pretty lousy. A lot of people did. And a lot of people do. No matter how good the security, you're not going to protect yourself from this thing with just your standard anything, unless you just literally don't come out. And even those people found out. Did you see in New York City, the most heavily locked down place, the people that caught it the most were the people that were caught in their houses and their apartments, okay?
Okay. So, virtual debate.
He
says no. I'm not going to do it. I have different opinions. You heard what I said right before when we started the podcast. What do you think is going to happen with the virtual debate?
They're going to force it. They're going to force the virtual debate to happen because he did test positive for COVID-19. He's not going to do it. He has nothing to gain by doing a virtual debate. Here's what he will do. He will go to Miami next Thursday, and he will have one big rally. I mean, it'll be huge. He's going to do something, but I don't think he's going to do this virtual debate. And how stupid. I mean, they are trying to pull this, they're trying to grease the skids now for Biden completely. They've already got the moderator they want for this second one, who used to be his intern, and now turning it into a virtual debate. What? If he tests negative, for X amount of days, why can't they do it in person? There's no reason this thing couldn't happen if the doctor said it's okay.
If he tests negative, let's see some tests. The dude just had COVID. That's not fake news. He had COVID.
Yeah.
He may still have COVID, right? It's not within the 14-day quarantine window, whatever the ramifications are. He's obviously been on drugs, steroids, whatever. He got airlifted to Walter Reed Hospital. Is there a chance he still has COVID? That's a question.
They're going to test if he's negative. Yeah. If he's negative, should they do the debate live together?
If there is negative, then he should do the frickin' debate.
And that's what Biden said as well. But this is the question I'm asking you. Is the debate going to happen live or virtual?
I hope it happens live.
Okay, so right now it's virtual. Is Trump going to show up to the virtual debate?
One thing I'll tell you about Trump, as much as I'm not a fan, the dude's a fighter.
Okay.
He's a warrior.
So he's going to show up. He's going to show up or no?
I think he'll be there ready to go.
If there's a virtual debate and... Yeah, he'll do it. He'll change. He'll say yes.
Luis.
I believe he wouldn't want to do it, but the party's going to make him do it. Yeah, participate. I think he's going to go to Miami.
And put that event?
Okay. There and be like, I'm here.
You're with him? Kai?
I mean, I think he's going to do a debate. I mean, he
Okay.
has to.
Yeah, so by the way, here's the thing with Trump. How many times has Trump said, nope, I'm not doing it, and the next day he changed his mind?
I mean, he just did that with stimulus.
That's exactly the point. And he's going to do it again because... Look, there's nothing he can do about it. He has to do the debate. He has to show up and do the debate. So his camp, he's going to realize, because say he doesn't show up to the virtual debate, guess what the other camp's going to say? Very easy opening. They want him to say, I'm not going to show up to the debate.
Yeah, of
Because you know
course.
what everyone's going to say? He's afraid.
And he's sick. and
He's
still-
afraid.
yeah.
And there's something we don't know. Are you sure? What are they not telling us? I can only already imagine all the
headlines
stories
are
from
gonna
New York.
be out of this world.
Yeah. So he's
Trump
is
still
there
has
something we
COVID. He's
didn't
hiding
know?
in his basement,
An
his bunker.
An insider said this is bigger than COVID. He is dealing with
He's going to
something.
be live tweeting during the debate, too.
But what I'm trying to say to you is
Ranting.
he knows he has to show up.
Yeah.
Of course he's a know it. But he knows he has to show up.
So-
And here's the thing. This is what
Yeah.
I would say if I was his camp. I would say, look, just show up with one caveat. What's that? That the last debate, 100% has to be live. No question.
Mm-hmm.
So do you agree that the last debate's going to be live? They say yes. Fine.
Yeah, but
I'll show up
I-
to the
You
last
know,
debate.
it's that commission, that debate commission that sets all the rules.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't get advice from anybody. He didn't even know about it today.
Yeah.
So I don't think anybody has any control over that,
Yeah.
that commission. They
Well,
can do
we'll see
however
what's
they
gonna
want.
happen.
This is the problem for all my Trump friends out there. Respect. This is the problem with agreeing with everything Donald Trump says. Because the second you agree with him, boom, he changes course just like that.
He's unpredictable.
Just like he did with stimulus.
He's
So
unpredictable.
everyone who just, anything he says I agree with, buddy, he's going to flip it on you on a script in a second, okay? Just like stimulus. It's not happening. Forget it. Negotiations are off. Stock market tanks. All right, maybe we'll bring it back. Hold on. Let's see what's going on
Talk
here.
about the stimulus.
Very
by the way.
unpredictable.
Talk about stimulus. So he says it's not going to, I don't support it. And we're not going to do it until I get elected. The economy, the market drops, right? Then the next day he says he's considering it. What happens? The market goes up 1.9. The Dow Jones goes up 1.9%.
Yeah.
530 points. S&P gained 58, et cetera, et cetera. And then day after, Democratic-led House panel argues Congress should break up the largest tech companies on antitrust grounds. President Trump's full tweets, when he went, 20 tweets before 8 a.m., something like that. He was sending a bunch of tweets. So the stimulus. Here's a basic thing about it. What do you mean you're not going to do the stimulus? Here's how it works if he says, I'm not going to do the stimulus until after I get elected. You know what happens? He's not going to get elected because there's one card he has to be able to keep the next 30 days if he's going to get elected. You know what that is?
The economy.
The economy. If he passes the stimulus, people get money. You know what people don't like? They don't like change. People don't like change. How did Bush get reelected the second time? Even the people that couldn't stand him, he still got reelected. Even the people that couldn't stand Obama, he still got reelected. Even the people that couldn't stand Clinton, he still got elected. You got to realize the last 4 presidents have all been 2-term. The last time we had a 1-term president was Bush Sr. So I think the stimulus is probably going to be coming up here very soon. The $1,200. If I am sent a standalone bill for $1,200, they will go out to our great people immediately. I'm ready to sign right now. Trump tweeted on Tuesday night.
Well, I give him credit. He's as adamant about flipping and his enthusiasm for paying the money now that he was for not being in favor of it on Monday. But write the checks then, if that's what it takes.
I tell you
Start the presses.
You know what the bigger story is? Here's what the bigger story is. The bigger story is yesterday, Kamala Harris used the scariest word that I hate to hear. It scares the hell out of me when I hear it in debates. You know what it is? If your family makes less than $125,000 a year,
free thing.
you're going to get a community college for free on the state.
Yep.
If you have any student loan, what Joe Biden did is he's going to take $10,000 off the loan.
I was going to bring that up.
Okay, so then free, right? Okay. You know what Trump is endorsing? He's endorsing
Free money.
all free money.
Yeah.
So this AOC thing, guess what AOC is going to say? Look at this. Here's how capitalists are. Number one, capitalism, they want capitalism for others, socialism for themselves. But guess what she's going to say now? These capitalists are secretly socialists. All they care about is money. And she's right. Because this is a socialistic program to come out with things like this. So long term, you know who loses? He's going to pass the stimulus package. Long term, do you know who loses? The capitalists lose long term. Because now they have to do this or else.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think this is a desperate attempt in the final days to do what you have to do to win. He can flip the script if he gets reelected and this is not his policy anymore.
It's a socialistic program, back to back. It's another way of saying, hey, I'll give you money if you vote for me. It is a Robin Hood
I think it's like
messaging.
throwing a Hail Mary in a football game.
I
You do something you
understand.
normally
I
wouldn't do
don't
on third
disagree
down.
with you. Dude, I don't disagree with you. I'm fully with you. But I'm telling you right now, the same thing there is the fact that you yourself are endorsing a socialistic, not you. You yourself are endorsing a socialistic program. So I'm just telling you, gradually, when somebody pushes, you know the whole thing about you put a frog in you've heard this before, you put a frog in a bowl and you boil the water, and if you boil it slowly, it won't know that it's getting to 212 degrees before it dies.
As opposed to dropping it in the
As
hot
opposed
water.
to it'll jump out immediately. You're right.
You know, I'm cool with him doing whatever it takes right now in the final 26 days.
I'll tell you what. I mean, Chairman of the Fed, Jerome Powell, came out and said, we need another round of stimulus, straight up.
Yeah.
He's came out and said that. That same day, Trump said, no more stimulus. Trump has one thing going for him. One thing. His ace in the hole is if the economy is doing well, he has a chance for re-election. If everything stays the same, my friends, we're going to be looking at a new president in 2020, okay? I don't know why Democrats would, at this point in the game, send out more stimulus checks. Why wouldn't they just wait another month till after the election here? He should pray that he cuts a deal in the next month to send checks to people to curry favor for a vote. He should want that. The fact that he says no more checks doesn't help him. That's why someone probably said, dude, what are you doing? Flip court, and the next day, boom, changes course. So he's very rational, very erratic, and he came out, and I think very emotional and wasn't liking the way the direction that stimulus was headed.
He's been like that since 2016.
Yeah.
So for me, when you are the way you are and you consistently are the way you are, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised.
No,
That's
I don't think
Trump.
anyone was
Yeah, I'm
surprised.
not surprised.
Nobody's shocked that he reversed course.
A part of his ability, this is the part that people don't realize about his ability. He's all about being unpredictable. When he's all about being unpredictable. He's not about being predictable. He's all about being unpredictable. And that's been his play. And I tell you, part of that being unpredictable, I want you to be unpredictable towards the enemy. I don't mind that if you're unpredictable.
I'm good with you on that.
Yeah.
I'm good if you're unpredictable with China. I'm good if you're unpredictable with North Korea.
China.
Not if you're unpredictable.
Adam, you support China.
Yeah, I
Adam.
support China.
You support China. Because if you support Biden, you support China.
That's not true at all.
It's not true. Wait,
That's
it's
not true.
Wait, it's not.
I'm just not a fan of being unpredictable to the
wait
American
a minute.
people.
Go on that topic. Okay, so here's a question for you.
Don't try to put me up as a China fan.
Here's a question.
I'm not a fan of China.
Here's
Stop.
a question for you.
Go ahead.
You ready? Okay. Give me your top 5 main concerns. What are your top 5 main concerns right now you have in life when it comes down to politics? What is it?
My personal concerns?
What, like with this election, what are your 5 policies? Talk about policy, not emotions, not personality, policies.
I would say first and foremost is the economy. What's going on? Jobs, unemployment.
Stay there, but let's go through this together. So let's
Sure.
actually do this together. We're going to have fun right now together. You guys should have been in the boardroom yesterday, but economy is number 1. What's your number 2?
What the hell's going on with COVID, with stimulus, with stuff like that?
But be specific. More COVID-like vaccine?
Everything surrounding COVID.
But it's different.
Okay, so stimulus checks, what's happening with that?
Why
what's
is
happening
that a priority
What's happening
to you?
with
Why
airlines?
Is that a priority to you? Why is that a priority to you?
For my fellow Americans. People are really
your
hurting
fellow
out there.
Americans. Okay.
People are hurt. I'm good. Let me just be clear. If Trump's elected or Biden's elected, Adam's good.
I know you are. What I'm asking you is,
Yes.
You're a reasonable guy, yes?
I tend to
and
think so.
you're a pretty
yes.
smart guy, yes?
Fairly, yeah.
And 90% category is where you are,
Yeah,
yes?
yeah, yeah.
Yes or no? I mean,
A minus, B plus.
What I'm trying to say
Yeah.
is you've always done, you
I'm
did good in
okay,
school.
I'm
You
okay.
weren't the guy that played ball that had a 2.0.
No.
You had a 3.5 GPA.
Yeah, I had good-
You're a
I
smart
had
guy. I know
decent
you
grades,
say,
yeah.
I don't like to do politics. You're actually
Yeah.
very good, very
I
well
was
educated
more like
guy.
I like to party on the weekends, but I like the good school. I like to play sports. I was more
I kind
well-rounded.
of know who you are.
I was well-rounded.
I talk to you all the time. You're actually a very smart guy. Adam's a very, very smart guy. I know some of you guys are putting all this soy boy stuff. Adam's a very, very
Soy
smart
boy
guy.
mafia. Thank you. I'm embracing
but
it.
what is your what's your
Yeah.
concern right now about the future? Stimulus is a concern for you for the future?
I'm for my fellow Americans. There's a lot of people unemployed.
Okay.
There's
So
a
let's
lot of
just say
industries that
stimulus.
are hurting.
Fine. Give me
Yes.
another one.
Okay. China is very high on that list.
Where do you
yes.
put it on the list? Is it in your top 3, top 5, top 10?
Number 3. I just put it number 3.
What's number 4?
For me,
Yeah.
race relations in this country, like let's stop burning down, let's stop the rioting, let's stop the looting, let's stop the divisiveness.
But that's on
They're
one side
happening in this-
politically. So
That's
you
on
don't,
both sides. It's very divisive.
not the right, not the pro, not
So
the rioting.
no one on the right. There's no one on the far
No,
right.
not
There's
the-
no one
not-
on the KKK side. There's no one on
Where
the
do you-
white nationalist side that's rioting and looting.
Like looting like businesses, burning down businesses.
That's on the left. That's on the left.
Yeah.
But there's nobody on the right
So you
protesting.
want the left to stop rioting.
I would like better race relations in our country.
That's not going to happen.
Why would that not happen?
Because the more divided we are, the better it is for politics. You think we're better for politics if we're united? Like you have got to be
What do you
united.
mean better for politics, though?
Are you? They're better off pinning you against other people constantly.
I don't want that.
You're not going to. World peace is not going to exist.
That is Trump's go-to card. Pinning black versus white.
But
left.
Every single time somebody tried to do something with Obama, it was a race card. It was because he's black. Every single time somebody said something, you couldn't say anything. Every time you opposed a view that Obama had, you're racist. This has been going on for 12 years. Every single time somebody said something, you must be racist. So this is not going away. But give me your next issues. But I'll put that on the list as well. Black Lives Matter matters to you. We'll put that here.
I didn't say that's what I'm saying. Race relations in this country.
Which is BLM.
I wouldn't say BLM. I would just say people.
Race relations.
I would say. Listen, I have some best friends that are Republican.
What else?
I have best friends that are Democrats. I just want people to get along. I want people to listen to each other and respect each other's opinions.
I've seen you behind closed doors. You actually really want that.
I do.
I know you do.
So, yeah.
I'm giving it to you. I'm saying I know you do. So what's your fifth one?
I mean, number 4 is probably, I would put that actually even higher. So economy, stimulus, China, obviously our situation with that. Yeah, I don't know.
Let's just say it's 4 of them.
Okay.
That's fine. If you can't come up with another one, let's just say it's the 4.
I mean, the Supreme Court is pretty high. The Second Amendment is pretty high.
Is Supreme Court down high to you? If it is, I'll put it down.
It's not. I'm just saying it's high up on my list.
But
it's not in the top 4.
Let's just stay here then. Okay.
Sure.
Is a part of economy having to do with taxes?
Yes, it is.
Are you wanting corporate taxes to go up or to stay where it's at right now?
I'd like corporate taxes to stay where it is.
Well, just so you know, one side is going to raise it, one side is not. So does Trump get the vote for you on the economy side or Biden does?
On taxes?
On taxes.
I would go on the right side, yes.
Okay. If there was no COVID, you think Dow Jones today would have been at 35,000?
Potentially, yeah.
Okay.
It was trending that direction.
If there was no COVID, first time ever, median income has hit $63,000. We haven't seen that for 25 years on both sides of the administration. This is the first time it's happened. So are you going to put economy, taxes,
the one thing Trump has going for him is the economy and taxes.
So you're
I'm giving him that.
Okay.
I'm giving him that.
So stimulus. He's pulled a stimulus once and he's about to do it again. So if he does it.
Is he though? He just said he's not.
If he does he get your vote? If he does in this topic, specifically to stimulus.
I think the Democrats care more about people getting stimulus, more about checks being mailed out. I think they have my vote on that side.
You think it's because they care more, or it's because they're going to be able to control an audience?
I think they're looking to buy votes.
Okay, so then which side are you going to give credit? Can we say this one is lost because they're both full of it?
I think
and they're just
both,
trying to win votes.
I think they're all just...
No, on this category, I think both of them
I don't want
the
federal deficit, the debt to go up higher.
It's
That's
going
for sure.
to, but they're both going to.
Yeah, I don't want
So
that.
let's put this one as a non-issue.
Okay.
China, which side do you trust more against China?
I do applaud Trump for exposing China. There's been a problem with China.
So
okay?
you are more confident knowing that Trump is going to go against China than Biden's going to go against China.
I would say, but he's very erratic. But you said that's a good thing.
Yeah.
You said that's a good thing.
I don't mind it. Okay, so let's put Trump here. Riots, BLM.
Yeah.
I think you're probably on Biden's side.
Yes.
So do you realize on your main issues, you agree more with Trump?
2 and 2.
No, you're not.
2 and 2.
No, you're not.
Economy,
Stimulus is even. Stimulus is even. They're both going to do to buy the votes.
I'm veering left on that one. I'm 2 and 2.
In what way, though? You just said they want to do it because they get the
I
votes.
think people do need, I think stimulus
but Trump
checks.
has done it. He's done it. He's getting all the stimulus that people have asked. He's done it.
He just said he's not, though.
Well, he said he changed his mind. He's doing it.
He changes his mind every day.
What I'm saying is say he does it. Then that's a vote for Trump.
I see what you're doing here,
Yeah,
Pat, and I respect it.
Yeah.
You're saying, all right, let's see your top issues. And
it proves my point.
That's
the hatred of Trump
everything.
What
I'm trying to say is forget about the guy.
It's impossible to do that, Pat.
But if you can't do...
It's impossible to forget about
But you know
the
what
guy.
you're saying if you say that? You know what you're saying if you say that? You know what you're saying if you say that?
That I'm an emotional creature?
You're not rational. That you can't rationally reason. Because
irrational would be,
dude,
there's nothing I agree with. No matter what he does, I hate him. That's irrational.
I run a company.
Rational is saying, I don't really care for the guy, but here are the things I do enjoy about him.
I run a company,
yeah.
Okay? And, you know, I don't expect everybody to like my style of driving people. I don't expect them to like it, okay? But I do know behind closed doors, they'll sit there and say, this freaking guy gets stuff done. What am I going to do? Every single time something happens, company's improved. Simple as that. I trust this guy at the top, right? One of the girls we work with, her name is Diana. I got to give her a shout out. They're killing, right? Her and her husband, Kilroy. You know, when she first came in, she sat at my house on December 31st of 2010, okay? And we were talking at the time. And she said, one of my concerns is you come across as being reckless with money.
That's what she says to
Yeah.
you?
And she says,
Reckless.
I worry because to run a startup, I don't know how you handle money. I worry about the way you handle money. It's okay. And she said some other concerns that she has with me. By the way, she has the right to think
This
that.
in 2010.
Yes.
Okay.
Fast forward 4 years later, you know what she tells me? She says, Pat, I had no idea you were this conservative with money behind closed doors. I had no idea how conservative you were with money behind closed doors. You have no idea how much confidence it gives me. Then I'm driving and challenging her. Today, she's one of the best people in the company, her and her husband, Dominic. They're absolutely crushing it right now, right? She says, I am now thankful for how you challenged us to improve, right? But for a period, she didn't like my approach because I was hard charging, challenging, all this other stuff. We have personalities in the company that they don't get along, okay? When it comes down to values and principles, we do get along. When it comes down to personalities, you don't get along. If you only want to work with personalities that you get along with, you're going to have a problem. For me, has zero to do with personalities. It's all about values and principles. If I can sit there and tell you philosophically, I'm on this page with you philosophically, I don't care how annoying of a person you are. We're on the same page with values and principles. We're on the same page with philosophies. I'm good with you. If I can't do that rationally and be reasonable, I'm an emotional human being. I'm always going to be controlled for the rest of my life. I don't want to be controlled.
And it just comes down to the fact that no one can get past the fact that they hate Trump. You want to know what my fears are? Or the same question you asked Adam? Here, socialism is on the fast track if Biden wins. I am concerned about the Supreme Court because they're going to stack it and they're going to change everything that they possibly can. They're going to make D.C. a state. They're going to make Puerto Rico a state. They're going to flip the electoral college process. Our freedoms are going to be gone. They're going to have a game plan that they've got now to shut down the country and control us even more. They've done that. Check that off the box. Capitalism, you can kiss it goodbye. The free money. California is doing this thing right now. Garcetti came out where he says that everybody's going to get a handout. Free money just for being alive. They're just going to hand it out. And then I'll tell you another thing. The lawlessness in this country is going to be off the charts. It's going to be insane. There's not going to be any money to pay for law and order and police forces and whatnot. And then here I'll tell you where it's going to go. The more conservative, level-headed people in this country, when the dust settles, if they lose, are going to be so pissed off that they allowed it to happen. We allowed the media to completely manipulate us, to control the messaging 100%, that there will be more unrest than you think. There could be some sort of civil war.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to call it. And if you had asked me that 2 years ago, I would say there is less chance of a civil war in the United States than any other scenario possible, including aliens landing on the U.S. I just thought there was no way it could happen. Now, I'm almost convinced it will.
It's a very good point. Kai, do you have that USA Today article about Civil War or no? Do you have it up? If you don't, it's all good. But I don't think we had it on our list. Let me know if you do or you don't. Just type in USA Today Civil War, okay? When is the last time you saw USA Today Civil War? Yeah, there you go. Civil War. It's not 3 hours. It's, I disagree. It was an article that came, okay, right there. Half the voters, if you go up, over half the voters expect violence. Watch this. This is yesterday. Okay, no, let me just read the headline. Thank you. The country's lost its mind. Polls warning of civil war. Violence shows deep partisan chasm over election. I mean, when is the last time USA Today said something like that? The poll of 1999 registered voters found that nearly half, 47%, disagree with the idea that election is likely to be fair and honest, and that slightly more than 51%, more than half, 51% won't generally agree on who is legitimately elected president of the United States. The online poll was conducted October 1st through 2nd and has a margin error of plus minus 2.56%. Okay, so look, polls, you know how I feel about polls. I'm not big on polls. But to say we're headed towards civil war, how the hell did we get here? So again, for me, it goes back down to, it's okay, it's not a big deal. Let that policy go through. It's okay. It's, the whole compromise thing. Oh my gosh, when people say compromise, it's one of the, you got to give something to get something. That's not the truth. There is no such thing like compromise. Let me explain to what I mean by compromise. So say you and I, look what Eric just did. Eric just said what? No, not where I was at, okay, with the Marines. Eric didn't compromise. Eric just said what? No, I didn't see it on my unit. Great, I saw it on my unit. Eric didn't say yes. He said what? No, not on my unit, okay? We're living in a time where we think everything's about compromise. It's not about compromise. It's about what's the best thing to do. If the system America created has fundamentally done better than all of these other nations combined, only in 244 years or whatever the timeline is, what the hell are we doing questioning that system? Improving it, yes. Fundamentally changing it, it's scary. There is a concern for me when it comes down to when you win and you start doing really good, a couple things happens to you. And I see this. I had a conversation with one of my favorite guys in the company yesterday. It was a 45-minute conversation, pretty intense conversation. The conversation was, you're getting soft. He says, I'm not getting soft.
He accused you?
I called him, and I said, you're getting soft.
Oh, you
I
told him
I
that,
said,
okay.
you're getting soft. And he says, what do you mean I'm getting soft? I said, success has gotten you softer. And I said, you have to be very, very careful. He says, what do you mean? I said, brother, let me put it to you this way. The moment you start winning and everything you wanted, for instance, like you want to be making a lot of money, lifestyle, house, attention, all this stuff that you wanted, that comes with a price. What's the price? You're officially a target. America is the greatest country in the world. No problem. You're officially a target. What happens when it's a target? People are not happy about it. Who the hell likes losing? You know how much people love when they saw Golden State Warriors. There were people on Twitter celebrating when Kevin Durant got hurt. When Klay Thompson, remember when he went for the layup? He got hurt. He held his leg, called his dad. It's like, dude, this guy's done. They were celebrating. They should have won and beaten the Toronto Raptors. They should have been a champion. People were celebrating that they got hurt. Celebrating when they got hurt. Why? Because for 5 years, they embarrassed everybody. A little guy, 6'1", became a two-time MVP, embarrassing a LeBron James, a behemoth of a player, pre-Kevin Durant. Let's remember this. Day one, pre-Kevin Durant. They hated him. Now you're a target. That's what comes with the territory when you start winning. But when you start winning, the part I like about Trump, which is very interesting, if you saw him when he got on that show with Ali G, with Sasha Cohen, and Sasha Cohen's trying to kind of fool around with him, right?
Yeah.
Did you see what the moment he noticed there's games going on, he just said, well, I wish you nothing but the best. Well, good luck, guys. All the best. Good luck. Okay, thank you. Good luck. Good luck. And he walked off. He didn't say anything. He just walked off. He still has his,
Instincts. Yeah.
He still's got that paranoid thing, knowing that he's a target. He knows he's a target. Unfortunately, the American politicians, when they become politicians, here's what happens. When you go to dinner with a celebrity, first time if you're around a celebrity or somebody that's a big name, what do you become? Goo gaga. It's like, oh my gosh, look who I'm around. Hey, how you doing? You got to be loyal to your friends. Bullshit, I'm loyal to America. That's who my loyalty is first. You have to be loyal to the country that gave you the opportunity to become who you became. Not loyal to your foreign, like what Kamala said. You have to be loyal. That's the advice that Biden gave. I'm sorry. Yeah. The more and more you just kind of say, it's okay. 0.5% here, 0.2% here, 0.1% here. Then suddenly you're going to wake up and you're going to see they're living in your living room, sleeping in your bed, kicking back over here. There's a line you can't cross. And we have let that line constantly go a little bit further back, a little bit further back, a little bit further back. Now we're in too deep. If people don't stand up and realize that this great idea founded in 1776 that attracted a kind of an economy, the industrial growth that we've had, where everybody around the world wants to model this economy, secretly every country around the world, minus a handful of them that religiously disagree with what we believe in, secretly every country in the world wants to be like America. Secretly.
Of course.
They all want to be like America. And we're letting that go. It's a little bit scary if you think about it. If countries were a company, guess what this means to other countries? An opportunity. If I am another country, and I'm Costa Rica, I'm Panama, I'm any of these other any of these other countries. You know what I'm thinking about? Here's what I'm thinking about.
Let's attract some of these people that are going to leave.
I'm going to put a 50-year plan together. I'm going to put a 50-year plan together. You know what I'm going to start doing? Exactly what Abbott did, but with my country. I'm going to do what Abbott did with my country. Says, I asked NASDAQ to come to Texas. Here's why. We just signed something in our Constitution that we will never have state taxes. You know what I'm doing if I'm another country? If you're an entrepreneur, you're living in America, you're worried about losing all your rights, your freedoms, all this other taxes, come consider us, whatever the country is. If I'm a PM or a president of another country, I'm drooling right now because the biggest behemoth is about to lose talent. And if you make an environment for me to go there that I'm going to get the freedom, another country officially has the opportunity to have an opening here.
Yeah, but you need some forward-thinking countries, and I hope there are some. I hope someone grabs
There
that
certainly
opportunity.
is. There certainly is. It's just you just can't be afraid of doing that. But there certainly is going to be. Someone's got to have the
Let me ask
audacity
you
to do it.
a follow-up question, because you started everything you just said with the word compromise, right? So there are certain things that you would not compromise, your values and principles.
No.
You would not compromise
No.
those whatsoever.
No.
But you do need to compromise from time to time. That's not like you go throughout your entire life not compromising. You go through a negotiation, you compromise. They're going through these stimulus negotiations, you have to compromise. Democrats were initially at 3 trillion. Republicans are at 1 trillion. You have to compromise to get to 2 trillion. So there's things that you should not compromise. Your values and principles, cool. Who you are as a person, proud to be an American. No compromise there. But when you're negotiating, when you're in a boardroom, when you're on the Congress floor, you have to compromise.
I disagree.
You can't see compromise.
But I disagree.
You can't see compromise as a bad thing.
No, I disagree with you.
Tell me why.
And there lies the problem. There lies the problem because, look, there's something called non-negotiables.
Okay.
We are compromising our non-negotiables. I understand compromising small stuff, meaning, hey, we're going to put TI $500,000 into this building. Okay, great. And I want you to put such and such here this year. Okay, I can do that, but I can't do the AC because we're dealing with $500,000. It's a budget. Fine, got it. Okay, no problem. Non-negotiable. If you're not paying for the AC, I'm not even doing it. No problem. Then if I all of a sudden say, you know what, don't worry, instead of 3 ACs, just put 1. Those guys in the back don't really need it anyways. They're going to get it from the other place. No, I'm not compromising my non-negotiables. America is compromising its non-negotiables, bro. They're compromising their non-negotiables. You never compromise your non-negotiables. Not with your kids, not with your spouse, not with your family, not with the people you work with. Never your non-negotiables.
I'm on the same page with
So
you, clearly.
but what we're doing...
When you said values and principles, non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable.
But there's things that are negotiable.
Of course there's things
Okay,
that are
that's all
negotiable.
I'm saying.
Everything is non-negotiable.
But you're saying that you don't compromise at all. You compromise every day.
Except for non-negotiables.
For sure.
If I sit with you and you say something to me and I'm disagreeing with you, I'm not looking to be right. I'm looking for the best solution that long-term is best for everybody. If you propose something that's better for me long-term and I'm wrong, I'm not trying to, well, compromise with me here. No, I'm saying, we're going with you, buddy. Because I'm not trying to be right. I'm trying to be what? What's the best thing for us to grow the company? That's not compromising. That's saying you were right, I was wrong. We didn't compromise. You won. There is no compromise there. I don't know if I'm making sense of what I'm saying.
You're saying that it's more than a compromise. You reverse course.
It's not compromise. It's what's the best decision, what's the best choice, and what are we not negotiating? Certain things are off the table. Bro, what I can tell you, these 3 things are off the table. Everything else, let's talk about it. But that's not what we're doing as politicians. As politicians, everything's on the table. You just saw right now, we're going to raise the Supreme Court, from 9 to 15. And the last time that's happened, 150 years, they're willing to do it. They don't even want to answer. That's not compromising. That's not compromising.
Yeah, that's radical.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's a concern. So, anyways, guys, we got a lot of other topics to cover, but we're at 9:53. Do we want to hit one more topic here? If we do, which one do you want to hit? You guys want to pick a topic here that we got? We got lots of topics here.
We got to talk about Jay Baldwin.
Jay Baldwin. No, you know what we got to talk. What we can talk about is
Oil jobs. Oil jobs.
Oh, that's not what I heard.
That's too heavy to end it with.
It's too heavy to end it. You want to do BLM, LeBron James? Do you want to do?
Well, jobs.
What you want to do?
NBA next year. NBA next year.
NBA next year. Okay, let's do NBA next.
Let's talk about NBA this year.
All right.
The Heat, baby.
For 2 more
my
days?
Gosh,
Yeah.
first time in
Talk
my life
about
I'm
the
rooting
Heat.
for the Heat.
I know, it's crazy.
NBA to lead Black Lives Matter social justice messaging off the floor next season, says Commissioner Adam Silver. We're completely committed to standing for social justice and racial equality, and that's been the case going back for decades. Silver said in an interview, it's been part of our DNA of this league. How it gets manifested is something we're going to have to sit down with the players and discuss for next season. I would say in terms of messaging, you see on the courts and jerseys, this was an extraordinary moment in time when we began the discussions with the players, and that's what we all live for. This summer, my sense is that there will be somewhat of a return back to normalcy, that those messages will largely be left to be delivered on the floor. And I understand those people are saying, I'm on your side, but I want to watch basketball game. So meaning we're not viewership is down according to Pulse and Sports Media Watch. Sunday's night games, Game 3 between the Lakers and the Heat, averaged 5.94 million viewers. The least watched NBA Finals game on record. It topped the previous low of 6.61 million, which was set on Friday, Game 2.
Yeah, I'm going to give Silver a mulligan on this season because everything was just completely whacked and warped. And I think this bubble mentality, they did a great job. They really did a phenomenal job. They controlled COVID inside. They didn't have any tests that were positive the whole time they've been there since January or since July. The playoff basketball has been great. The level of play has been really good. Their ratings are in the toilet. It's his only option at this point because they've turned off probably 40% of their audience that don't even want to watch it anymore. Yeah. But you know what? His hands were tied. It was a crazy time. Silver's a smart guy. He's doing the right thing. Part of the reason their ratings are down too, I don't like watching basketball without fans, without energy, without like some sort of intensity in there. It's completely different. And you're not used to watching basketball in October. This is football season, so people are wired a little bit differently. But look, this is just another example of how everything that we thought we knew in this country is being changed in front of our eyes. We got a taste of it with NBA basketball. Multiply that by 100. That's where our country's going to be if it goes a certain way on November 3rd. But Silver's rational. I give him a lot of credit for saying, no, we are going to go back to way. This can't go on for a second year.
Yeah, I was actually... I thought it was for sure this was a one-time thing just during the bubble. I don't think this was a big story. I thought for sure.
Yeah, but why not do it for a week? The fact that they did it for 5 months, that's where they lost me a little bit.
Touche. I don't know. But certainly things are strange times. It's in the bubble. I will say much respect to whoever's running the show, the anti-COVID campaign over there in the bubble. 0 cases.
No question about that.
The same thing cannot be said about whoever's running the show in the White House. More cases in the White House than in the NBA bubble. That's a shocker to me.
Yeah, or the NFL, or the other sports, or college football. You know what happened with Cam Newton recently.
Yeah, but the bubble creates the advantages, right?
Yeah,
because
sure.
it
should be a freaking bubble in the White House. I don't want to see White House having COVID.
I don't.
Regardless
know
of your political affiliation.
I appreciate your emotions.
You want to see White House bubble, White House COVID?
I respect your emotions, buddy. I respect your emotions. You know, for me, I think Silver's doing a better job than Godel, if you ask me. Silver at least got to the issue immediately. He addressed it, and they're moving on. Godel made a Kaepernick issue a 4-year issue. Silver made it a 5-month issue, and it's going to be done. They'll move on to next year. So good for him. I'm not a fan of the product today, the NBA. I'm just not a fan of the product today. I think every time I hear an NBA player do a vote video, you only have one choice for vote. You don't have another choice for vote. It's not like, hey, vote. They're saying vote for who we're telling you to vote for, not go vote. It's
You're
not
saying
you have a
subliminally.
That's the funny thing. They make it seem like, hey,
exactly
pro-democracy, man.
You're saying vote.
Make your choice.
I would love nothing. What I would love is I'd love 2 teammates sitting next to each other, one wearing a BLM shirt and another one wearing a MAGA shirt, hugging each other. I'd love to see that. There was a picture that came the other day that went viral on social media. I don't know if you saw that. 2 neighbors posed the picture. One had a Biden-Kamala Harris sign on and a shirt on, and the other one had a Trump Pence shirt on, and they took a picture and it went viral. Awesome. That's great.
I'd love to see more of that.
I'd love to see more
I
of
would
that.
love the NBA and Adam Silver to allow one person to wear a MAGA shirt in the NBA. I've never seen that. I'd love to see that happen. The guy would be crucified from the top if he did that.
Well, we talked about the one guy who did
Orlando.
not,
Yes.
Jonathan Isaac,
So.
the one guy who did not kneel for the anthem.
First
boom,
time in my life,
blew his knee out the next game.
First time in my life, I'm not rooting for this guy. First time in my life.
Well, it's unbelievable. The Lakers are one day away from clinching a title. That should be a big deal. I feel the same way. I live there, and I don't even feel like they're part of the city.
Yeah, it is what it is. So, gang, phenomenal being with you today. I think we cracked 3,800 at one point or 3,750 at one point. If you're still with us here, press the thumbs up right there. Subscribe, click on the alert button. We are most likely going to be doing the presidential debate next week. I do not believe we're doing a podcast next Tuesday. I am not available next Tuesday, but we will do the next podcast next Thursday. Whether there is or not, we're doing one next week. But if there is a debate, we're going to put it right now as the calendar being 7 p.m. next Thursday. I wish we could do these on a daily basis, but none of our schedules permits us to do that. And then outside of that, if you haven't yet gone to vtpost.com and checked out the content that we're putting together, go to vtpost.com. We just launched a new site. If you want to be a contributor, you can go apply to be a contributor. In the next week or two, we are finalizing the people we're choosing to be contributors. But again, go to vtpost.com. It's a new site that we launched just this Tuesday, and it's creating a lot of traction right now. So go to vtpost.com, subscribe to the newsletter, and we will see you next Thursday for the following podcast. Have a great week, everybody.
Trump
Take
2020.
care. Bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye.